idea why that wasn't playing audio. Like, it was showing on stream that it was playing audio for stream OBS. Live.
Hi.
Neat.
Hi, stream.
Alrighty. I think I'm about set up for, the first 5 minutes, and then I'll just end up closing all the shit I just opened. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll just jump right into it. If Viz would like to recount the sessions as is customary, what happened last time?
I write these words with a heavy heart. There was an explosion outside our home. 11 people are dead. None of our neighbors or friends were injured, but that doesn't make the pain or sorry I feel any lighter. Martin, a boy I found in the alley, watched all of his friends die in an instant. He lost everything. He found something, though. A necklace of fireballs, which we discovered was thrown by something called a Niblewright. It's a sentient sort of mechanized puppet. We follow a lead and went to the House of Wonders, and discovered that Nim, a very intelligent Niblewright, was very lonely during his punishment, and seeking a friend, tried to create another one. It was outside of his abilities, and it went rogue. Nim is physically incapable of leaving the temple, according to the master of the temple, Valletta, so Nim is not the perpetrator here. We've been given a device that will allow us to know if his friend is within 500 feet of it. For now, we don't know what to do with it. Risk, Kai, and Talia returned from meeting their group of friends with some information. 2 of the people that died in the attack this morning were of that organization, but not of the same family as Risk's friends. So there are 2 groups of people, one of them being pure evil and killing people, and the other being less. Jot and I have managed to convince Risk to not join them currently. He has a very strong feeling he needs to join their organization, but there's no immediate benefit laid before us. They're already providing work and information to us without selling your soul to a devil. So now we sit in the tavern discussing what to do next. We've tossed about the idea of talking to some of our friends, Jalister, Prince Neverember, or Rillatar. Hopefully we can figure out something to do next and figure out why these people died.
All right. So as Viz recounted, you were awoke the day prior, or today rather, by an explosion. This fireball spell being set off in the alley right in front of your home. As Viz said, several people died, and you wanted to start investigating, though the City Watch and the Watchful Order of Magus protectors have started looking into it as well. But it seems like you've got some leads to go off of, or some tools, but there's some other possible drama brewing, I suppose. As you all find yourself kind of down in the common room of Trollskull Manor and Tavern, with you all discussing what exactly is going to happen going forward, not only with this investigation into who or what or why this fireball was cast before you and killed these people, but also what the party is going to be doing going forward. So, with that, I will drop you here. What do y'all want to do?
Drugs.
Lots of drugs.
It's been a hard day. Let's do it. No.
Yeah, we just talked a lot and didn't come to any conclusions, as
It was
per
like
usual.
shiny object.
Basically. I think what we had talked about was going to Jalester Raynar and or Rillatar, the Grey Hands guy.
I felt like Rillatar would be good because like a fireball in the city is probably something that the arcane people would notice. Just like maybe that could give us a lead on the necklace of fireballs that we don't have. DM, I mean God,
I like it.
What time of the day is it currently? Like how much time has passed since the fireball?
So basically,
noon,
the
right?
fireball happened really early in the morning. Y'all did sleep in a little bit later. You know, it was probably 9 or 10 bells or so by the time you were woken by this fireball. So it happened early morning. You didn't spend some time with the investigation going on, figuring out what was going on, as well as the city watch and the investigator showing up. And then you went out and started doing your own thing, able to get the noon hours out of the way at the House of Inspired Hands, as well as the Yawning Portal. So at this point, with everybody kind of regrouping after your separate, inquiries around the city of Waterdeep, you've made your way back. It's afternoon at this point, so about we'll say 2 bells in the afternoon at this point.
When we returned to the tavern after doing our errands, was everything outside the tavern cleaned up and in order?
There's still, you still see that there's a guard presence as you were looking down towards, that street down at the bottom where the incident happened, which was Trollskull Alley. Yeah, down off of Thunderstaff Way. It seems that as you were glancing around, kind of looking down there was still some guards kind of watching the area, but not nearly the presence, dozens of them compared to this morning. Only a few sitting around it, kind of minding the scene. The bodies have been cleared and taken away. You assume probably to either the watch houses or maybe to visit the local clerics of one of the shrines to the local deities and such. You're not sure. You haven't asked into that quite yet. But yeah, there's still people there. It's still a active crime scene, but not being protected and such as it was before.
Well, if I was a murder robot, where would I hang out?
Not
think it-
here.
Probably would go back to whoever told it to throw the fire.
This is a bit of my ignorance, but is Barnabas's order related to Jalestar's order? Or Jalestar only works for the Open Lord and it has nothing to do with the magistrates and stuff? Is that right?
Basically, the Lord's Alliance, which Jalestar belongs to, is an alliance of lords and ladies not only of Waterdeep, but also other prominent cities such as Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter, Daggerford. Places like that are all kind of included in this large Lord's Alliance that it contains influential people all across the Sword Coast. The Watchful Order... Let me make sure I get this right.
Magists and protectors.
So it's like
Magists
Lord's
and
Alliance, like the
protectors.
UN.
Kinda, sorta. Dedicated to the Sword Coast, this big overarching, a very large organization, essentially. That the Lord's Alliance was one of the key factors in the Tyranny of Dragons that happened some years ago. They were prominent in the Council of Waterdeep that was held to help stop this threat when the Tyranny of Dragons hit and this rise of Tiamat happened. The Watchful Order of Magists and Protectors is a local, so Waterdeep, established organization that consists of spellcasters and practitioners of the arcane. They are essentially very similar to the City Watch and the City Guards. However, they're much less utilized compared to them, whereas the City Watch and City Guard, they are employed to guard the walls, watch the city, or watch the walls and guard the city.
Yep.
Whereas the Watchful Order of Magists and Protectors, they are called in for special assignments. So something like this fireball spell going off in the middle of the city, call in one of them. If an attack happened on the city or something like that, they would be enlisted to assist with the guards and the watch, as well as any other organizations to do that. And you also know, because at least one of you are openly a member of the Watchful Order of Magists and Protectors, that they are just common folk. They are people that live and reside within the city, and there are a few, people that work specifically for them. You assume, like Barnabas, for instance, is a full-time employee, I guess, versus someone like Jot is on call, essentially. If something happens, she may be recruited to respond to a threat in that instance.
And it's hypothetically mandatory for magic users to register, correct?
Basically, if you're a city, if you're a
National Guard.
citizen of Waterdeep, you are essentially National Guard. Yeah, you will be called out for this. You are expected to show up. Lest face the consequences of not doing so. And you all know that theoretically, all spellcasters, if you are a practicer of arcane, no matter how mundane, you are required to enlist with them if you are a citizen of Waterdeep.
Kind of register. It's like the draft.
Essentially, yeah.
Or the
Draft.
mutant registry in the X-Men, whatever.
You know.
Yeah.
Whatever you're
It's fine.
It's all
Whatever.
about perspective, really.
Well, as Viz, I'd really like to get out of the tavern and get out of near the house. It makes me sad being here. I think we know we want to talk to people, and we know where everyone hangs out. So I think maybe going there would be good. And if Jalister's there, we can talk to him. If Prince Neverember's there, we can talk to him. If somebody for us to talk to is there, I don't know.
Do you want to go to the Yawning Portal then?
Yeah, it's where all the cool kids hang out.
Yeah.
Until we become popular enough to overtake the Yawning Portal, it's fine.
We're gonna be popular.
We're going to be the cool kids one day.
When our employees get here, though, for the day, we need to make sure they can run the tavern without us. Business needs to still keep going.
I thought we gave one of them a key.
We did.
Yeah, but we should probably let them know what happened outside work this morning.
It was nothing.
It was nothing. They
Kind
don't
of-
need to worry about
it was
No.
definitely something.
They certainly
It was
don't need to
nothing.
worry about it.
Liv.
Yeah, oh,
Business
can't speak.
continues.
just have our ghost leave him a note.
The
Well,
ghost
you
is
can-
going to write on the chalkboard on the back wall and say, "Nothing happened last night."
Today's special is none of your business.
I didn't do it.
It wasn't us.
Yeah, I think starting with the Yawning Portal might be a good place to see if we can find people we want to talk to.
Okay, so everybody planning on all of you going as a group to the Yawning Portal?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I guess they're going back because they were just there.
We were just there. I mean, it's
I do want
fine.
to wait to talk to our employees and give them a rundown of, like, here's what happened this morning. Doors stay open. Customers come in. Treat them great.
Have
I
we
feel like
visited?
we need to go into the Yawning Portal, like snapping like West Side Story on to their bar.
We met the people who work at the forge next to us, whose names I'm drawing a blank on right now.
Avi and Imbrick.
Yep.
Ember.
Yes.
I was thinking Ember, but that was wrong.
Close.
Would we know if they had armor for sale there, or are they specifically like blacksmiths?
Pretty sure they do. Let me double check.
If I recall from what you've said, the bow people had some leather armor, and they had like metal armor.
You say the bow people?
The people that had like bows and
The woodworking people?
yeah, the woodworking people.
Tally does not
Tally.
have leather armor, no. He
No.
sells wooden weapons and shields, and then wooden furniture
Oh my
and
God.
such.
I thought, for some reason, I thought I
Um,
remembered the leather armor.
At Steam and Steel, you would be able to purchase mundane, regular weapons and armor. You would probably find leather armor and such there as well, just
Studded?
because there are. I mean, studded implies that it has metal bracings and such into
Okay.
it. So yeah.
All right. I do want to take a quick trip there before we head down to the Yawning Portal, or you guys can head and I'll meet and I'll just hustle up and catch up after you.
It's fine. We can wait. I mean,
Well, yeah, while he's going to the blacksmith shop, I want to look around at the people outside of Trollskull. Again, after talking to employees, and see if there's anyone. See if Barnabas is around.
Okay. So give me a perception check, Viz. Brisk, you're just going to head over to Steam and Steel.
Yeah, that's like literally right next door, right?
Yeah, it's like right
Yeah,
around the corner.
it's close by.
Yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second.
I need
so Risk-
Papa. Sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So Riz said he's going to head off to Steam and Steel, so he takes off. Viz wanders back outside, looking down to the south towards where this incident happened. Viz, as you take a look around, you see a few of the guards and such that you recognize from this morning, but you do not see Barnabas or Saith Cromley, the sergeant that was on watch for the city watch. Neither one of them are present. Only a few guards, and they're not really guarding anything. The bodies have been cleared. There's still a slight dent, a hole in the ground, unfortunately, from this fireball that hasn't been mended yet. It's going to take some time, you assume. You see some people kind of meandering around the area, but nobody really seems to be dwelling around the area.
Is there anyone who looks to be doing investigation-y things?
No, you don't see anybody doing any investigations.
All right, I'd like to grab someone who looks like they're doing something, not just be bored on guard duty.
Beep boop.
And ask them if they report to Barnabas if they're part of that order.
Oh, one of the guards?
Yeah, I want to find someone who's a part of that order, or someone who reports to him, or will be talking to him later.
Okay. So as you approach,
Saith or Barnabas.
Okay. As you move down, you do see, like I said, a couple guards down here kind of watching the area and such. As you approach, they look over towards you, kind of a brief recognition, and they kind of nod your way. And as you approach, asking who they report to, the first man responds, "We're part of Saith Cromley's unit. Do you have any questions for him, or?"
No, we're there, and if you could just let Saith know, and Barnabas, if you speak with them, we did a little bit of investigation on ourselves earlier, and we made a connection with the what's that house called? House of Wonders? Yeah, House of Wonders.
Sure.
So we have some information to tell them about what we found later, and we'll be back later this evening if they come by, and we just want to tell them about the things we found to make sure we're sharing all the information we can.
With that, the man kind of nods and says, "Very well. We'll be leaving the watch here this evening or so. I'll be reporting back to Saith myself. I'll let him know that you may have some information for him, and see if he can stop by or send someone out to retrieve your information." Then
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Daddy nods, and you part ways. Risk, as you go around, you see Steam and Steel was very clearly open. As you move towards the shop, you see smoke and steam billowing from the windows around this indoor forge, as you saw the first time you arrived here. As you moved in, you see the married couple that you recognize as Avi and Embrick at work at their respective forges. Avi working on what appears to be a somewhat rough-hewn set of full-plate armor, and you see Embrick working on a small short sword. As you enter, Avi's the first to see you entering in and turns towards you, and he kind of waves a hand as he pulls off and kind of moves the armor away from him, letting it quench in the water in front of him, and then turns towards you and says, Risk. Oh, what can I do for you?
Well, I'm sure you're aware of the troubles we had earlier this morning.
With that, Avi nods says, "Yes, dreadful thing, really. All those people, it seems that most of them were just enjoying the day. It could have happened to any of us, I suppose."
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do my part to make sure that this doesn't happen again. It seems like things might be heating up a little bit. I was wondering if you had any studded leather armor for sale. Looking for a little bit of an upgrade.
With that, you see Embrick kind of noticing, but he goes back to work as Abby moves forward and says, "Yes, we have a few sets of the studded leather armor on sale if you would like to take a look." And he turns around and kind of leads you back towards the back wall of this place. You see weapons and such in racks, and then up above there's, on top of like a shelf, there's a bunch of like half mannequins where there are different armors kind of set on top of them, or the mannequins made of wood and the armor made of various types of metal. You see a couple of regular leather pieces kind of tightly woven against it with some metal pauldrons, kind of very small and form-fitted onto the sides. You do see two sets of studded leather up there as well that look like they probably fit with a little bit of a fitting and such across you. And Abby kind of motions to him, says, "We have those two sets there if you would like to purchase one."
Yeah, how much would one of those cost me?
With that, Abby thinks, says, normally it's around 45 gold, but for a neighbor, I wouldn't charge you more than 35.
I really appreciate that. I'm going to hand her the 35 gold.
All right. So with that, Abby takes the gold and turns over and kind of pulls the bottom rod of this mannequin down and starts pulling the leather off, and turns around to you and says, raise your arms out, and kind of sets the armor over your head and down around you, kind of snugging it tight, and then begins to tighten up the sides and such, getting it nice and snug across you. Says, yes, it shouldn't slip off now. Should be pretty good. All right. Yeah, you're set to go then.
You wouldn't happen to have any information about Niblewrights, would you?
With that, Abby thinks for a moment. Never heard of them, so I would think not.
They're these little metallic. They look like small people, but they're made of metal. Something that they make over in the House of Wonders. Never seen anything like that.
With that, Abby thinks, as I've seen things of that nature in the Day of Wonders parade. Last year, they had a few interesting mechanical things. I'm afraid I don't fully understand the workings of them. The clockwork and such is beyond my skill, unfortunately. I'm lucky to hammer out a piece of armor correctly most days. So,
Chris is going to look at some of the wares because I don't think it's above your skill. I think it's just a different skill set.
That Abby kind of smiles and nods his head, says, well, I appreciate that.
You guys see anything or hear anything strange in the next couple of days, just give us a shout next door. But yeah, thank you very much for your help.
That Abby nods, says, well, very well, we'll keep an eye out, and if we see anything, we'll let you know.
Appreciate it. I'm going to head back to the tavern.
All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ooh, the glyph stuff or something else? I'm trying to remember what you sent me. Did you DM it to me, or was it? Okay, I remember you asking about the book, but I didn't remember about the glyph rather. Yeah, he said it would take, depending on what you wanted. I'm trying to remember what I said before. Yeah, he said for what you wanted, it wouldn't take very long. It would require a little bit of detail work onto it, but it shouldn't take, more than 4 or 5 days. Since you spoke, that was the night before grand opening. That was y'all stopped opening. Yeah, so you're on the second day after that. Okay.
I actually would pop over to Rishal's if I can.
Okay. All right.
I'll risk doing his errands.
Okay, so as Risk and Viz are heading back, Jot, you head over to the Bookworm's Treasure, that you know is owned and ran by Rishal, the Page Turner, this very inquisitive and intelligent Dragonborn that you've met a couple times now. As you make your way inside, once again, you see yourself surrounded by bookshelves just lining the walls, set up in the middle of the area. You actually catch sight of Rishal, kind of wearing a brown kind of cloak made of cloth across him. Just kind of more of a shawl than anything else, just kind of covering his chest for the most part. And as you enter, the doorbell dinging up above your head. No pants on. Nope, no pants. Just kind of looks to you. Oh, sorry. As he looks over, hearing the doorbell ring above you as you enter into the shop, he catches sight of you and kind of waves a clawed hand towards you. Says, oh, Jots, thanks for a moment. I don't believe I needed to make anything for you. What brings you in today?
Oh, just a couple of things. I was needing to buy some ink. for spell scribing? I think you said that you had some of that.
With that, Rashal nods his head. Says, "Oh, yes, I have everything you need to write spells, to copy them down. I have a few spell scrolls and such you could use for work. For a fee, of course. I am running a business. A few magical books around, as well as other services I can assist you with. But yes, ink and quills, I have plenty."
Perfect. I was wanting to scribe just a single spell, just a basic level spell. The ink required for that, I think it's typically about 50 gold.
With that, Rashal nods. Says, yes, you'll need the ink made from the toadstool leaves and such. He turns around. You see him kind of shuffling off, just completely ignoring you as he starts shuffling off, whispering to himself. And you start following him around, and he leads you up to this large desk that has some vials and such inside glass cases behind him. And he starts going, "Where did I put that? Yes." Opens up a cabinet and reaches up and pulls out a couple bottles, then jingling together and sets them down. Says, "That's, yeah." He goes over and he pulls out a couple quills, sets them down behind him. He turns around, says, "You'll need, she wants some parchment." Grabs some fine parchment, sets it down. "Do you want any spell scrolls, Jut?"
I might be curious to know how much one might cost.
Depends on the quality of the spell.
Of course, certainly. I had been wondering about a spell called Identify to determine what a magical item is.
With that, he thinks for a moment. He says, "I may have a scroll." Well, he turns around and says, "I don't think I have a scroll for that one," but he shuffles out from behind the desk and starts walking off in another direction, disappearing for a few moments. You kind of stand there just waiting. You hear him whispering again as you see him shuffling forward. He says, yes. He's holding this tome in his hand. Brings around. He said, "This is an old book that was delivered to me. I believe it has the spell you were looking for. You should be able to transcribe it from this if you would like, or you could purchase the entire book."
I was just looking to copy it. I can give
somewhat
back.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll just copy it
that.
and give it back if that's okay.
Make a persuasion check
Sure.
with advantage.
Oh, that's the wrong tab. There we go. Persuasion. Am I on advantage? Sorry. There we go. Trying to click perception. Oof! Thank God
Okay.
for the advantage.
So with that, Rashal kind of thinks this. Usually, I wouldn't want to give the entire book away. This one has some very interesting work inside of it. But for a friend, yes, sure, you could borrow it for a day or two and bring it back to me afterwards. I think you're good for it. So with that, he turns around and says, "Okay." You see him scanning, all of this stuff that he's piled up onto the desk. "What were you needing exactly?"
So I already have a book that has the spell Shield, lets me block attacks. I was just wanting to transcribe that, but then if I can have that, then I'd also need the ink for that. So that's 2 spells worth of ink and paper.
With that, he nods and he says, "Oh, there's 2 vials there. That's one for each spell. If you need quills, those are there. Cheap ones. I mean, nothing fancy. Parchment, if you want that. If you have your own book, of course, you wouldn't need that. The spell book. Yes, the spell book. Yes. Totals for everything. We'll say borrower's fee as well as that on there. 75 gold pieces. Sound fair?
Absolutely. Certainly. Goodness, that's so kind of you, actually. Yeah. I'll give him 75 gold.
Okay. So with that, he takes some money and he starts pushing everything. And he's like, "Oh, wait, you don't need the parchments and both scatterbrained." He just appears very scatterbrained right now. And he says, "Yes, okay. That should be good then. Once again, keep the book for a couple days.
I'll bring it right back.
I appreciate it. Thank you."
I just bought a set of armor for 35 gold. You just bought a pen and paper for fucking 75?
Dude, that is such a discount, man. The ink should have been 100 gold. That's a major discount for me.
This is
super expensive.
This is why I don't play casters. Holy
Fucking
super
wizards are so
expensive.
expensive, dude. They're so expensive. Oh God.
Super expensive.
Oh, so expensive. Yep.
All right. So with that, he pushes everything for you and says, "Well, if there's nothing else, if you ever want to try anything more advanced, do stop by. I found this lovely book the other day. It had a spell called Bigby's Hand in it.
Bigby's
Quite
Hand?
fascinating, really.
What
Yes.
does it do?
Yes.
I don't heard of that spell. What does it do?
Oh, it allows you to create this large, translucent, shimmering hand, and then you could, I don't know, smash people with it or punch them. I suppose anything a hand could do.
Do you think it could carry a person around? Like,
I'd
could I
imagine
fly
so.
with it around, like if I was sitting on the hand? Is it a big hand?
He starts describing this hand and
Yeah.
he says like proportions of it, which are humongous compared to you. He's describing like a giant's hand, the size of that, being able to pick up and throw and grasp and even straighten it out and become like a miniature wall of force and such. He just describes like anything you could use a hand for, this spell could do. It's a quite powerful spell. I was just barely able to decipher it myself, but quite interesting. It's even a name spell. I don't know if you've heard of Bigby before, but
I
a very
don't know
famous
that.
wizard. Yes, you should look into him sometime. Very famous wizard, very powerful.
That's very. I need more gold, but yes, that sounds amazing. And I will definitely be back if I have enough gold for something like that. But thank you very much, and I'll bring the book back. Absolutely.
Oh, I do appreciate that. That is very valuable. You understand.
I understand completely.
Okay. So with that, he thanks you for stopping by and says, "Oh, well, have a nice day, Jot," and goes around and where did this parchment come? Oh, yes. Turns around, starts putting it away as you start leaving.
He's so absent-minded. I love it so much.
All right, and you head back. Anybody else want to go do something during this little miniature time frame? Going once. Okay.
I think we're good.
So with that, the rest of you kind of chilling out in the tavern area, talking amongst yourselves. You see everybody coming back and kind of reconvening. Risk, not chance, wearing this studded leather armor, and Jot kind of carrying an armload of stuff in her hands, like jingling vials and such in her hand, kind of looking around. I need these. Viz kind of coming and looking in and such, and you're all back in the tavern now.
After talking with those people, Viz has adopted the form of a tiefling. It's a little bit of an older tiefling, got some wrinkles along the eyes, black hair that kind of goes back, and eyes are just all yellow, totally pupilless. It's got a tail. It's got horns. Looks over it.
Horns?
They're kind of like ram horns, so they curl back, and then they curl back up towards the ear. And looks at Risk and be like, "I like that armor. Looks good."
Thanks.
We've not
Just,
seen this persona before, is that right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You guys ready to go to the Yawning Portal?
Viz?
Mm-hmm.
Just checking.
Are you trying something new out today, Viz?
This is Bisnoth. Tiefling, just Viz was feeling pretty bummed out. He wasn't handling things too well, so I'm coming out and handling things. He's too sad and mopey and just whiny.
Are you gonna be the strong arm for Viz then?
I mean, stronger than a baby, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I happen to like Viz a lot. I feel really weird that I'm fighting with Viz about Viz.
He's a good
I'm
guy.
not
He's
fighting
just-
with Viz, but
he's being a bummer.
Viz,
That's all.
He was being a very big bummer.
Let's go to Yawning Portal.
Viz, it's not bad to be upset about things, right? Like, that was upsetting earlier today. And really sad. And it's okay if you feel sad.
and don't worry, eventually I'll be able to raise a family all on my own.
You feel better.
He knows. Like, he knows it'll be okay. He was just having a really hard time today.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure it's okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be okay.
At least this will be pleasant, and I don't have to listen to Viz all night.
I know, he's a real buzzkill sometimes. Yeah, real bummer.
Tali did not help him.
Totally
really,
nothing.
really not helping
Stoking
him.
that fire. Yeah. All right. So with that, you all decide that the Yawning Portal is the next place to start regarding this investigation and such, trying to figure out what happened. Continuing on from there. So with that, you find yourself moving through the streets of Waterdeep. Live notification. Okay. So you're back in Waterdeep. Sirenscape. Okay. You're in Waterdeep. I was going to play some music for you or some background noise, but it's not playing. So with that, you start making your way south, heading down towards the southern end of the castle where you know the Yawning Portal to lie. Everybody roll me perception checks.
Advantage.
Where the hell is it?
Oh.
Drink.
1 second, roll 20 is
Someone
being
roll
dumb.
Cassie's winning with 16. That's actually decent, though. Unlike everyone else. Oh no.
That's weird.
Neat, Cassie sees it. That's good.
Cassie, what do your Triton eyes see?
Sadness.
Sadness.
Everything's dry. So very dry.
This place is a desert.
What is wrong with these people? Oh.
Okay. Cassie, go ahead and roll me a D100, please.
19. What does it mean?
Do I see more puppies?
More puppies.
Talia now has an armful of puppies. Also, we have more dogs now.
But
Everyone
Trollskull
I found
Manor is
dinner.
on fire, so it's whatever.
Oh my god. That's terrible.
All right.
We're gonna die. We're gonna die. It's fine.
Okay. So you find yourself moving down. You head down to the high road, kind of being the fast track to get through, veering off of every once in a while to like Solmo Street and take some back alleys where the crowd and such is a little thick going through. Because once again, this is past midday. It's very, very busy along the high road. You keep to the sidewalks and you keep going down. As you're all kind of moving forward and talking amongst yourselves as best you can over the din of the crowd around you, which I still don't understand why it's not playing sound effects. Talia, as you're moving through, your eyes just happen to be wandering around, and you look up to the sky, and you see a bit of a brilliant sight, something you haven't quite seen before. Up above, you see what appears to be a large creature with feathered wings soaring up above you, and you see it just as a silhouette above you, backed by the sun, and you kind of shield your eyes for a second as it flies away from the sun. You see this very majestic-looking creature. It has golden fur and feathers all across it. The fur and such around its neck is almost bleached white. You see what appears to be a man wearing some lighter armor sitting upon its back, wearing some regalia that you recognize, though tainted with some different colors across it, as that of the City Watch. You recognize this creature as a griffin, and you seem to be looking at one of the griffin cavalry that you've heard of, spoken of, that protects the city of Waterdeep. As you're kind of walking down, you happen to glance up and see it, and it seems to just be patrolling the skies, moving around, not following anything particular. And even as you continue on down the street, kind of lagging behind, you look down and see the group still moving forward, so you catch up to them. And as you look up, you see the griffin and the rider are gone.
Did anyone else see that?
See what?
What?
There
No.
was a beautiful giant golden griffin in the sky with a city watch on him. And now he's...
That sounds middle.
Are there griffins under the
that's
sea?
No, but we have spectacular giant seahorses.
You have giant seahorses?
Yes, they let
No,
us
you
ride them
don't.
around.
Do you ride them into battle?
Sometimes, yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
But the griffin,
Yeah, the griffin, yes. Uh-huh.
But the seahorse sounds more entertaining.
Yes, both of these things sound really interesting.
If I remember when we went and saw Halam
Mhm.
in Mount Waterdeep, I think we saw some griffins there, or something about griffins.
We passed...
No, there's a giant statue called the Griffin there. That's what it is.
Yes.
Y'all think Halam would be worth visiting?
No.
I don't know.
I don't want to get punched again.
I thought the giant statue was a hawk man
Only-
statue.
That different statue.
He only punched us because we agreed to let him punch us.
Because we wanted to learn something. And then what I learned was he punches me.
Wait,
I
do
learned
you
that
really
punching really hurts a lot.
do you really believe if we said, "Wait, hold on, don't punch me," he would have just stopped?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
No!
He healed us in the
No.
middle of a fucking fight.
I mean, I don't know if mid-fight, if we'd been like, we give up, maybe he would have stopped. But I mean, he
Uncle.
asked us before we started if we really wanted to, like, do the whole teaching thing, and we agreed to it. In
But he
retrospect, I regret the lesson because it hurt a lot.
Did he really teach us anything though?
He taught us the cryptic phrase about,
He taught me
impending
not
death
to
is
fight
coming
monk
before
people.
the summer.
That's what I learned, was not to fight monk ever.
Old men living in caves are
Don't
dangerous.
fight them. Yeah, never. They're
It's
really
dangerous to go alone, too, so don't do that.
So take this.
Yeah.
Right.
What are we taking?
I don't know.
You're taking a
Just
trip
a
to the
phrase
Yawning
I
Portal.
Is this a
We're
phrase?
going to the Yawning Portal. It's an express. It's a tiefling thing. You wouldn't understand.
It's fine.
Mutter something in Infernal.
Why does Kai know it if it's a tiefling thing?
Because he's a demon.
It's an elf thing. I also speak Infernal, so it's fine.
There's a disturbing amount of people that speak Infernal in this party, by the way.
I love that John has ended up the most normal person.
John's like, what the fuck am I doing with
What
these
the
people?
fuck is going on with these people?
I had such a good life last week. Everything was going great. I had a job. I had a career path. And now I'm hanging out with these fucking weirdos.
Now I own a bar, and
What
I
the
don't know
hell?
what's happening.
What did I get myself into? You know, if I would have just stayed where I was, everything was fine.
3 years, I would have been a supervisor. I could have
Just
gotten,
like your father.
She was bored. She was
could have gotten a
bored.
one-room studio apartment downtown.
She actually already had that.
Yeah, I actually did have that already. Yeah.
She had one in Midtown, though. Okay, she could have gotten
Southern
downtown.
Ward is downtown. I mean, that's as down as you can get.
Is it?
Southern Ward? Yeah. It is. In fact, actually.
Just,
All right.
I don't know
Did-
why.
did we-
Did you
I think
really?
Do we make it to the Yawning Portal okay?
I think technically
Yes.
the dock ward does take the very southernest.
Wow.
So.
If only I had a soundboard that said phrasing. Somebody, please follow this stream right now so I can hear the phrasing quote, please. Thank you. Phrasing.
All right. So as you continue on, reflecting on this griffin that one of you saw, but the rest of you did not, unfortunately, you keep going to the south, eventually arriving at the Yawning Portal. You make your way inside, and you see a familiar sight before you. Tavern is bustling, as it seems to always be. As you move inside, you see your customary table, as always, and forever will be free for you to occupy as you move inside.
Did we carve our names into the
Just
table
saying.
yet?
Did someone lick it or like pee on it?
We-
what's
we
because
carved
I can
our
see
initials.
your tokens right there, so I don't
me
have to
and
mess
Jot
with
be
it.
added to the map?
Oh yeah, it's just dark. Right?
Yeah.
Seamus fucking shit on the table.
Or give insight, whatever.
Name is pooped.
It's like, where did I move you? There you are. Boop. Okay.
It
there
was
we go.
because we weren't present last
Right.
session
Yeah.
for what was in the young.
Yeah, I just moved you to the GM.
Seamus is there, though.
Oh yes.
It's because he was on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Alright,
yeah, that's
so-
right. Because I left him with you. Yeah, that's right.
Do we see any Niblewrights?
You did not see any Niblewrights.
Fuck.
Do we see Prince Never Ember or Jalister?
As you're moving in, you see several people you recognize. You see Bonnie and Durnan working the bar as they typically are. You see Bonnie's actually behind the bar today, assisting back there, and another lady seems to be moving around, delivering out drinks and food and such to people. As you're moving around, sitting down at your table, you see the young lady moving up and getting your orders, taking them as you order your different beverages and any food you may like. You observe around, you see, once again, familiar faces. Off to your east, sitting with a couple of, you assume, probably off-duty guards. Okay. You see Jallister, rather, Silvermane, who has offered you a job before, belongs to the Lord's Alliance. Up to your north, you see another familiar face. One that you were thinking of seeking out, and one that you haven't seen at least in a day or so. One Raynar Neverember, who you've met on various occasions. They are here at the Yawning Portal.
But our Zent friends are not.
Yes, you do not see Davil or Yagra or Idris or anyone here now.
Okay.
She's probably afraid I'm going to rematch her.
I think she kind of liked you, actually.
It's because I'm strong.
Well, should we talk to both of them simultaneously by splitting up, or one at a time, or just sit here awkwardly?
I think splitting up's a good idea.
Well, Risk and, who else knows Jalester already? That's right, Risk and Viz.
Liz knows him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you guys go talk to Jalester. I don't know why I said it weird just now. Instead of Jalester, I said like Jalester, which is not his
Jalester,
name
it's
at
fine.
all.
Risk, does that sound good to you?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Cool.
You Visnoth? Because he doesn't know
Yeah, that's
your...
true. He's
Don't worry, he'll be fine.
Fair enough. And so Risk and Viz are going to make their way over to Jallister.
And as they do that, Kai's going to move back and take his seat back.
We're supposed to go talk to Prince.
No, I'm
Neverember.
gonna go talk to Neverember. I don't know if anyone else is.
Oh, we're going over there? Oh.
We're splitting up
sitting on
to
his lap.
both
I'm
one,
going with John.
Fuck.
break the DM's
Oh.
concentration, and two, save time.
And John is just sitting on his fucking lap right now. Personal bubble. Personal bubble.
Fine, there. Oops,
Havoc,
I
are you
almost
muted?
adjusted my HP or something. There we go.
I can't hear you.
Fuck.
Me?
1 second.
Oh, I can't hear
Okay.
Havoc.
Oh,
I'm gonna-
I'm translating.
I'm gonna join.
Havoc said, fuck, 1 second.
You all find 100 platinum on your seats. Wow, God, I'm
Yay!
translating.
Curse! All you
We
die!
We give Havoc 3 minutes. If he doesn't start talking,
Test.
then we're...
Oh,
Oh, damn it! I didn't even get to finish.
Not gonna get me this time.
We
I
level
didn't
up.
try
I'm here to solve nerd things.
Or evil. I was just waiting patiently for my DM like a good player.
Uh-huh. All
I'm
right.
pretty sure he still had audio, just not.
Oh, I could hear all of it. All right. So Jot and Kai are going north. Viz and Risk are going east. Talia
was
and
going
Seamus are...
with us too. No, Talia was going over
Okay.
there with us
Yeah.
too.
Okay. All right. So Jot roll a d... Or wait. Jot
Nope.
and Viz guess the number 1 through 20.
4.
7. I don't know why it's so low.
Okay, Jot. We'll go first.
Okay.
All right. So as Jot, Kai, and Talia make their way up, you see Raynar Neverember sitting at this table, the raucous sounds of the tavern around you. Going on in the distance, you see Raynar catching you as you walk forward. He wears this customary, very polite smile as you walk towards him, kind of nodding his head. He says, Jot, Kai, it's good to see you again. What brings you into the Yawning Portal today?
We were hoping actually to talk to you a little bit. If you had a moment, and I'll kind of like glance over towards the person that's with him that I don't think I have any idea who they are.
With that, Raynar kind of looks over and says, sure, I don't mind having a conversation with you. Does it... You see him kind of looking over, and he leans over. He says, One second. Where's my names? With that, he leans over and to the lady sitting next to him, wearing very fine attire, looks very noble-esque, much like Raynar. He leans over to her and says, "Oh, Winry, dear, if you could give me a moment, I need
What
to
was her
speak with
name?
my friends." Winry.
Winry?
Winry.
I'll kind of like give her like
First name
white-
Ora. It's Oprah. Oprah Winfrey.
With that, she kind of nods to him, says, of course, and kind of politely nods to all of you. And she departs from the table, kind of moving up to the bar area, kind of take a seat and waving over to Durnan to get another drink. With that, Raynar kind of motions to the table, says, please, sit down. No need to stand on ceremony and such. What questions do you have?
I'll kind of like glance over at Kai and be like, I don't know if you heard about the incident this morning over by Trollskull Manor.
I'm afraid not. I hope everything is all right.
Well, there was an explosion outside
Oh my.
the manor, and a bunch of people were killed.
With that, Raynar kind of leans back and says, that's troubling news. Is everyone, you see him kind of glancing around. It's like, I don't see, and you see him kind of glancing back to the back and seeing the rest of the party. He says, oh, good. See, everyone's all right. I'm sorry to hear that, really. That's not a common occurrence here in Waterdeep.
It wasn't any of us. It was, what was it, a gnome, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a gnome individual. We can't quite place exactly why they were coming to us, but they were...
Kai, what? You said a gnome. Was it him or a her?
It was a him, correct?
Mm-hmm. Male gnome
I
was
looked over the bodies. I should know this,
you're able
right?
to give an
Yeah.
description.
Okay.
He was a rock gnome.
It was a male rock gnome. I don't have a full description, but I imagine Kai would have gathered that from looking him over.
Yeah, and you would be able to recount.
Aged?
You say middle-aged or so. As you were investigating this body back then, after the fireball went off, you noticed, like I said, this gnome that was laying amongst the deceased, among several other bodies. Once again, Rock Gnome was the kind of sub-race of this particular gnome that was slain in the blast. You had also noticed that he was carrying a dagger in his hand, almost, just clutching it, not sure why. You did notice one other key feature across his right temple, or right eyebrow, right above it. There was a long scar, an old wound that had happened,
Right.
but was very prominent across his face, kind of arcing down. As you begin to describe this, as Raynar seems to be taking interest, he starts nodding and shaking his head. He says, I think I know who that gnome was, actually. Not to the acquaintance of mine, of course, or not a friend at the very least, but yes, I think the gnome that you're describing was named Dalekar.
Dalekar?
With that, he
Yeah,
nods.
can you copy and paste?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I like to guess before he types it. Let's
Right?
see.
It's not too hard. It's kind of a
No,
funny
I was
letter.
way off.
I was only missing the H.
With that, he leans back and begins thinking. He says, well, you'll remember when we saved my friend Floon. I described some stuff to you, but this goes back. When the Lords of Waterdeep ousted my father as the Open Lord, personally, I thought his long, dark shadow was finally gone for good from me, as I've lived my entire life within it, unfortunately. The truth is, I want nothing to do with him. Me and my father are generally not on speaking terms. But his spies hound me. I hope for checking on my well-being, but I assume more nefarious deeds. He would eventually use me for one of his plots and such. But one of them, a gnome named Dalekar, had been watching me for months. And about 2 or 10 days ago or so, around there, This spy, this gnome, was suddenly nowhere to be seen. I didn't see him trailing me or off in the shadows beside my house. He assumed maybe I didn't see him or didn't care if I did, but I didn't see him again. After the initial time, I didn't see him one morning not waiting for me. I do know that my father didn't trust many people, but he trusted that gnome for whatever reason. After he vanished, I wanted to know why. So I spoke to a few of his friends, people I saw him associating with, people I'd heard that he associating with, I suppose. Apparently, I had heard he was on a mission to retrieve this item, the one I spoke of before, this Stone of Galore. And his friends said that he was afraid that the Zhentarim and the Xanathar guilds were close to catching him, as it seemed he had found this item. When he heard about my kidnapping, he wanted more information about you all, about the adventurers who had rescued me. I had not thought much of it, as, we were passing acquaintances, and I do like to call you my friends, of course, but I didn't figure he would roil you into this whole debacle with the stone and such and my father. But now that, upon hearing that he was so close to your home, I fear that maybe Dalakar was seeking you out regarding the stone.
Can you spell the name of the stone?
I've never heard mention of this stone before.
No,
it was
I
mentioned
didn't either.
session 1. Session
Oh,
1.
was
Session
it?
1.
We didn't even meet him until session 2.
Or session 2 then. I don't know.
Yeah, Session 2.
Session 2. It was mentioned before. Just in
Don't
passing.
remember it.
So what we were told about it
Interesting.
was that Raynar's dad is supposedly stole a fuck ton of money.
Oh,
when he was
yeah.
the Open Lord.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And
That sounds familiar.
stone was a way to find the money.
Okay.
I remember.
And that's why they captured Floon, thinking
Yeah.
he would know where the stone was. Okay.
Basically,
that's clicking.
They think,
Got it.
they
So,
think that Raynar
yeah.
knows where the stone is.
To lead them to like a
to lead them
fortune.
to the
Yeah,
fucking, the
gotcha.
fuck ton of gold. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and as you're all
I've
recalling
been
this,
wondering if it
Raynar,
was going to pop back up at some point, because it seemed pretty important to me at the time.
Havoc,
As
did
you're
you
all
see my mention earlier that I'm watching to see if anyone's watching us talk to them?
Mhm. Yeah, you haven't noticed anybody. Yep. So as you're once again recalling all of this, Raynar kind of chimes in, nodding in agreement. He says, yes, they originally thought, and I assume maybe my father thought that I knew of its whereabouts, but of course I want nothing to do with it or him or any of his machinations. So after that debacle with myself and Floon, I had hoped that the business was settled. But it seems that maybe Dalakar was involved in this plot even further and sought to embroil yourselves in it as well. Daddy thinks for a moment. Says, have you learned anything else about... I mean, did Dalakar cause the explosion? Have you found anything else out about it?
So, he was killed in the explosion. He seemed like he was going towards the manor. There were 2 Zents as well that were killed, that were appeared to be facing him, and he did have a weapon out when he was killed. So we think that maybe they were having a confrontation, but it appears that wasn't who caused the explosion. We're still trying to figure all of that out, but it seems like there was a third party involved of some sort.
A possible automaton that was standing on top of a rooftop.
With that, he nods and says, any other information? Were you present for the blast?
We were asleep. It was in the morning.
It
That he
woke
nods.
us. Brought us
I'm trying to
out.
think. Hang on, let me just skim back through my notes real quick. There was the cloak man. Okay, I knew I was forgetting something. There was a witness that said a man took something from the gnome's body and limped away. So he was probably injured in the blast. So maybe there's a 4th party involved. we didn't
From-
get a lot of time to look into things before the watch and such came to investigate, and then they pretty much just told us to stay out of it.
From what we understand, the fourth party was part of the 2 Zhentarim individuals that we had encountered that were dead. They were dressed similarly, but we can't exactly pinpoint that this individual was part of them.
Similar.
I didn't know that either.
They had the same cloak, from what I gathered from my
Yeah, I
investigations.
remember her saying black cloak. I didn't
Same
really
exact
think that-
black cloak. There was 3 of them that was chasing the rock gnome. 2 of them died in the blast. The other one ran off.
Got it.
Okay. So as you're describing all this, kind of recounting what you were able to find out from the various witnesses and such, Raynar starts nodding and such. He says, if you don't mind, if I would like to help you if possible, at the very least.
That's why we came to you.
That he nods this very well. I do have some associates, some friends that I may be able to inquire with. If you give me a bit of time, a day or two, I'll reach out to them and see if maybe they'd be able to glean some more information on this and possibly give you a lead on this. Once again, you'll have to forgive me. I do not want to be involved with it if possible. Of course, I will come to the aid of my friends as necessary, but I'd prefer not to be seen with any inhabitants or carriers of the stone in my father's business and such. I don't want to be a part of it if possible, but I can offer information.
We would not ask that you endanger yourself in any means to be able to help us, but if you could provide any information, that would be fantastic.
With that, he nods. Says, very well. I have some contacts within the Harpers and such that I can reach out to and see if they know anything about what was going on and maybe have some outside insights, maybe someone that you didn't speak to. And if I find anything out, I will come visit you at the manor or seek you out if you happen to be in the city, and I'll see if I can get that to you.
Just for good measure, he seems genuine, not getting any weird vibes or anything. Seems concerned, but genuine.
Give me an insight check.
Everyone's trying to kill us, okay? I just want to make sure, okay?
Yeah, so as you're listening to Raynar, yeah, I might have to get a beer in a minute. Kai, and like I said, you're paying attention and kind of thinking over, mulling over these thoughts in your head, and you see that, the gears turning, that Raynar for sure could probably do that, so you're not really focusing on Raynar himself. Jod, as you're listening to him, you see more than anything trouble crossing his face. This seems troubling to him, something he's speaking true. He doesn't want to be directly involved with this, but he definitely seems to be ringing true that he's willing to help you out. He's willing to reach out to his contacts in the Harpers and such and get you information, and all that rings true to you.
Cool. That was my impression, but you never know. Maybe he's terrible.
It's because she's giving me shit for not insight checking the vet. And so she's like, I gotta set a standard.
I'm gonna insight like our best friend that brought us a bunch of business. And
I better make sure that everything's okay here.
I mean, something exploded outside our house.
Never know.
Just making sure everybody's good.
And there's now 3 possible factions involved.
Yeah, there's so much involved. It's concerning. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I sincerely had been thinking it was 4 different factions. I hadn't realized there was some similarities between the person who limped away.
Correct. Yeah.
West Side Story snapping.
From what I had gathered, it was 3 individuals that were chasing the rock gnome. All 3 in the same kind of hooded cloak. And then 2 of them were killed in the blast. The third, kind of limping away, had the same regalia, the same clothing, but as they limped away, we weren't able to gather, obviously, anything from them.
Okay. So as you conclude that, and Raynar basically telling you he was going to look into it for you, try to get some more information, maybe give you a lead as to who it was that was involved more so in this blast. He kind of nods, says, once again, give me about a day or so. These things typically move pretty fast while things are fresh, so give me a day or so, and I'll see if I can bring you some information that I hope will be helpful.
And just one other thing, if if any of your friends or anything, yeah, it is, yeah, Forge said, have any, have seen any sort of, like automaton, I think it's called a Niblewright around. We're also looking for that. Just if you happen to come across any information about that, we'd appreciate it.
Okay. With that, he nods in agreement. Says he'll look into it.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
All right. So as y'all are concluding your conversation, this other conversation has been taking place over here as Viz and Risk move over, seeing another friend of theirs, or of all of yours rather, Jallister, sitting at this table. He has a couple of, once again, off-duty watch next to him, and as you move up, you see him looking up. Still, even though it's midday, you see a kind of hazy look in his eyes. He seems to have probably been drinking already for quite some time. He looks over at Viz and Risk and says, yes, Viz, Risk, yes, yeah, how are you today?
Hello.
How does he have any idea? How drunk is he? How does he know it's Vince?
He has no idea. He sees Risk.
All right.
He sees Risk and this tiefling, yeah, he's like,
Lord Jallister, my name's Vizanath. I'm here on behalf of Viz. He couldn't make it today. We wish to speak with you if you have a few moments, though.
With that, you see Jallister kind of nodding, and he looks over at Risk and, sure, what can I help you with?
We don't mean to intrude on your conversation with your fellows here. Is there somewhere you'd like to go and speak? We just had a couple questions. Viz had a couple things that he wanted me to discuss with you, and I'm a friend of Risk's and Viz and everyone's, and I'm just think of me as Viz today. I'm just filling in.
With that, he eyes you once again, kind of raising an eyebrow. He looks over at Risk. Risk, what's going on here?
There was an attack outside of our home.
With that, you see a kind of slow realization as he opens his eyes and says, "Oh, is Viz all right?"
He'll be okay. He's physically fine. Emotionally, he's suffering a little bit. He needed to just take a personal day today. He asked if I could come on behalf of him. That's all.
Okay. Very well. See him kind of looking around. He looks down at his drink. Sets his drink down, kind of clears his throat. He says, very well. Kind of looks over the, excuse me, gentlemen. I have a couple of friends to speak to. Very quickly, I'll return here in a moment. We'll continue your reports. Yes, Risk and...
Viznath.
Viznath, yes, Viznath.
Can I get you a drink while we speak? We really appreciate your time.
You see him kind of thanking for a moment. Viznath, okay. He said, no, I have a pitcher up in my room. With that, he walks forward, and you see him leading off to the northwest of the tavern, going up the set of stairs here that you can clearly see that leads up to the rooms and such that kind of hang over a balcony up above the bar. As you find yourselves up there, he goes a few rooms down, jimmying open a door between one of the hallways that lead to even more rooms back behind it. He opens it up with a key, kind of leading you into this small, kind of an apartment for the most part. It has a bed, very small sitting area and such. He leads you in there, kind of shutting the door behind you, kind of not stumbling when he walks, but kind of slowly moving forward and sitting down on this red couch sitting on there. Sitting in the middle of the room with some chairs kind of sporadically around the center table. He kind of points to him and says, please sit. You see him already reaching for a pitcher of wine that's just sitting on the table, pouring another glass. Says, well, I'm sorry to hear that there was an attack. What can I do to help? Maybe the Lord's Alliance can help with something.
Right now, we need information. Someone set off a fireball outside our home. There were 11 casualties. 11 people are dead.
May the gods bless their souls.
No, it says that will be An investigation and a half, I'd imagine, for the watch. Very well. None of you were injured, though, I presume.
No, and Riss is going to go through the story about the gnome and the possible Zents and the necklace, and then he is going to inform him about the Niblewright.
So basically telling him everything, not leaving anything out.
Not leaving anything out, no.
So as you go through the story, Jallister kind of listens. You see him sipping from his wine every once in a while, but he kind of lowers it, and he seems to grow more and more focused as the story goes on, seeming recollecting himself from the super of wine. And as you finish, he kind of nods, says, well, it seems the watch more than likely will figure things out. They generally do, not always in the most expedited fashion. They have a lot of red tape and such to dance around, but if you want something more expedited and try to figure this out, especially if it is something that could directly involve you, he thinks for a moment, says, well, I would suggest, do you have anyone that you know or in your party that is able to speak with spirits of the deceased?
That's not within the realms of abilities that we currently possess.
We have...
Is there someone you know or could recommend, possibly?
We have someone who could with the right equipment.
With that, he nods, says, well, the local clerics and such for the various temples and such generally have people on hand that the guard and the watch will employ to be used in investigations such as this if deemed necessary. Normally, people such as yourselves would not be privy to visit these bodies. I assume they've been taken to the North Ward's watch house and stored there for the time being. Generally, the practice is they bring the bodies in, and if they're for an ongoing investigation, they will cast gentle repose on them to preserve them for the time being, and then, if necessary, clerics will be brought in to glean thoughts and ask questions. They're not always the most forthright in their answers, from what I've been told, but I could put a word in for you to visit the bodies. The cleric you would need to provide yourself, but you could do so easily with a donation to the one of the churches or one of the shrines. They typically provide services as long, not for a fee, because that would be
unholy.
Yes, unholy. Yes, we'll go with
of course.
that.
Yeah, gods can be fickle things. You don't pay for the blessings of a god. I understand fully. That's an excellent recommendation. If something like that could be arranged, how would you let us know so that we can visit the body at the North Ward? What was it called? The Watch House?
Yeah, basically every ward has like a main office essentially for the watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know that each ward has one. The north one's kind of up to the northeast, up towards the gate, for your particular ward where these bodies would have probably been taken.
If you could arrange something like that, if there was a way you could let us know on our way back to Trollskull Tavern, we can stop by some temples and see if we could make a donation to a temple in exchange for the services of a cleric. What do you know about Barnabas' last name?
Blastwind.
Blastwind.
With that, Jallister says, I could arrange it
Hi,
for
Chess. Sorry about that.
tonight if you would like.
I do
just a
quickly
a
scarf
simple
down.
word here and there, and the guards will allow you to enter, essentially on a Lord's Alliance business. You would be representing our name, but in name only. If you would like to visit there tonight, if you don't have plans and such, I can arrange it for then.
I do believe we previously spoke with Kai, and he suggested just that idea that you're proposing as well. So I think that's something we absolutely would want to try this evening. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to benefit from your name in this quest for justice we're seeking.
With that, he kind of waves in, yes, justice. As far as you said, Barnabas was the lead investigator. He's kind of thinks for a moment. he's a good man. Very straight and narrow, I suppose, in his investigations. Doesn't typically. He thinks for a moment. Well, let's just say he's a very single-minded man. He'll figure this out one way or another. That he thinks. Yes, I do. He's, like I said, a good man.
Okay. If you think that, and I'm sure Viz will agree with this, we'll trust him as well. We've had feelings of not wanting to fully disclose information with the City Watch, as they feel hesitant to share information with us. But if you trust them, we'll trust them as well.
With that, you see Jouster kind of nodding. He's like, I can understand your feelings towards that. Trust in the Watch and such is what they always cry. Most are very good men. We keep a tight leash and a good watch on things with those organizations. So typically, you can trust in the Watch, I suppose. But once again, I could definitely put a word in. If you want to stop by the guardhouse, say, kind of thinks for a moment. Blast, what time is it? You see him turn around and kind of moving to the side, and you see a small trap door at the top. Kind of opens it up, and light pours into the room. He's like, yeah, a few hours at least. God, that's bright. 9 or 10 bells. I'll arrange for them to allow you to enter on Lord's Alliance business. Bring the cleric with you. You should be able to find one worth, willing to do so. That should be no feat for brave adventurers such as yourselves, assuming you are an adventurer like the rest.
Absolutely. Just think of me as a stand-in Viz. I'm just here to fill in Viz's role, help out when my friend needs it. Again, I'm sure if you've spoken with Viz, he's a soft and gentle soul, and those lives today have really put him in a spot where he's just incapable of doing anything productive today. So I'm here to fill in as slack as needed.
With that, you still see him kind of raising an eyebrow and shaking. He says, very well. A few more bottles of wine, and this will all not matter to me anymore. But yes, 9 or 10 bells. Stop by with your cleric. You should be able to get some information. As I said, what I've been told, it's always cryptic and such, but maybe you'll get straight answers if you're lucky, depending on the questions you ask. But I'll arrange it for you.
Have you ever dealt with any situations like that before? Speaking to the dead.
That he shakes his head.
I can't say in my time on Toril I've ever had to speak with someone who's no longer here.
With that he shakes his head. I generally want to rid myself of anyone dead, if possible, that lays before me. Generally by my own hand, unfortunately. But no, I've never witnessed this ceremony.
So brutal. I dig it, man. Respect. Again, Jallister, thank you so much for your time. I'll be sure to pass Viz your words of concern. That'll make him feel good to know someone's concerned for his well-being. I know my friend Risk hasn't been speaking much. He's a bit shooken up by the events that happened today as well. But thank you again.
Risk just drinking wine.
Drinking Jallister's wine.
Yeah. With that, he nods to you both, says, so, very well.
Thank you again for the help in putting in the word to let us in. We will go there this evening.
With that, he nods, says, very well. Once again, 9 or 10 bells show up in that window. You'll be allowed to pass. Now, if you excuse me. I had something to do. I'll remember it in a minute. Have a good day.
Good day. And I'll leave and go regroup with everyone else.
He's totally not drunk. It's fine.
Risk.
Totally not
Totally is Mark 2.0.
Totally not hammered right now. It's fine.
So with that, you make your way back downstairs. You find Kai and Jot and Talia all back down. Talia, you never saw anybody during either one of the conversations. Obviously not upstairs. You couldn't see that. But nobody seemed to really be paying attention.
Are you sure?
Yes. Nobody seemed to be paying extra attention. Just singing and such in the background. The normal tavern fare. But nobody paying extra attention.
Do you snuggle Seamus? Oh. He loves little back scritches. It's his favorite.
If I could wiggle my ears, I'd have my ear of him so no one could see that I was scratching him.
CK, You're muted.
Hi.
Hey, so Jallister's going to put in a word for us. At 9 or 10 bells, we need to bring a cleric with us that we need to get on our own. We have to donate to their church in exchange for their services. We'll be able to go in to see the body of the gnome at the watch house in the North Ward.
And we're bringing the cleric because the cleric's going to speak with dead.
Right, so we have to pick
That's
a
the
temple,
purpose of the cleric.
put in gold until they say, yes, I'll help you. Like, the stack has to get progressively bigger.
Bring.
Perfect.
Congratulations. You've unlocked tier 1 perks with our organization.
All right. So as everybody gets caught up to speed, knowing that Raynar is offering to reach out to his contacts within the Harpers and anyone else to try to get some more information, Jallister is going to essentially flex the Lord Alliance muscle to allow you passage to go visit these bodies that were involved in this fireball near your home. You kind of all get caught up on everything going on, and you can decide what you want to do next. But first, we're going to go ahead and take a quick 5 or so minute break.
Yee. All right, so as I mentioned, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. When we get back, we'll continue from where we are. Try to get us a cleric and try to speak with dead, which I wish I could do, but unfortunately I'm not high enough level for. So 5 minutes. When we return, we'll continue our story, so don't go anywhere. All right, so we're coming back. Thank you for sticking that out. It was a little difficult for us to get some of our stuff going. Hey, welcome back once again, C-Big, for your subscription. I know it says Twitch Prime, but you were here for much, much longer than that. Hopefully it didn't reset your streak. We're coming back, so get ready.
Your neighbors being
we're ready to
murdered.
jump
They go,
right into this.
No. It's
Hey.
like I would hear nothing, but I'd hear something that sounded like someone shouting, but like that was the only thing I would hear.
Gotcha. All right, so hopefully that'll fix that. My mic will not be clicking anymore, hopefully. Thanks, voice meter. All right, so you're all up to date. You know what's going on. You have these two friends of yours, Raynar and Jallister, willing to go out and provide different services, information gathering, as well as giving you access to these bodies of the deceased people that died in the fireball blast, unfortunately. But with a cleric in tow, you might be able to glean some information from them.
Oh my god, I just realized we could talk to someone that's not the gnome. It didn't even occur to me. I was just like, we need to talk to the gnome. We could talk to the other people too.
That doesn't mean they have to be truthful with you.
Right, but I mean, we could be like...
But
hey,
the gnome would be more truthful and tell us what the hell is going on instead of the two Zhentarim that would be like, why would we tell you shit?
It depends on what level cleric they are too.
That's true as well.
What's what it's going to cost us. Okay, so we've all regrouped now, and we've shared information, right?
Yes.
So, holy shit, that stone of galore? That's crazy. Did you ask him if his father really did bury treasure somewhere?
I think we asked him that before,
And he had no idea.
Said he didn't know. Yeah.
So,
I didn't re-ask him.
the gnome guy had the stone of galore, and the cloak guy stole it from him.
Maybe?
Yeah?
I don't know.
That's what it sounds like, yes.
Fala said she saw someone steal something off the gnome.
That would make sense. Or maybe it was a key to his house.
Yeah,
Maybe it
something
was...
I guess we'll have to find him and find out.
Let's go talk to some dead people.
I don't know why he would have been coming to see us if he already had the stone. Because I think he's looking for the stone. Because they want all the money that his father hypothetically stole.
Maybe that's an
he wanted
replacement
to
too.
pay off our house.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it was a map to the stone.
Internally,
That's a good
Kai
point.
is just grinning ear to ear. The thought of
I get
being able to
dead
talk to the
people.
dead. He's just like
So excited.
ready. He's so ready for this.
So, God, could you remind us what temples are in between us and the North Ward?
Oh,
Or perhaps
gosh,
what's the place that had a bunch of different like
So
religions
to
and
me,
stuff?
for Viz, like a Temple of Agma would be really good. Or probably not the House of Wonders, but like Agma would be good because it's a knowledge god, and Viz has a knowledge god.
I think I sort of ish.
So you know that
Cassie.
the largest temples within Waterdeep are devoted to Ogma, Tyr, Tempest, Gond, Saloon, Mistra, Sylvanas, and recently, more recently than the other ones, those have been kind of long-standing. Some more recent ones to Myaliki, I think I'm saying that right.
Mialiki.
Mialiki,
She's a unicorn.
Lathander, Soon, and Tamora.
I think
Tamora.
And there's also a large temple that's called the Plinth that is open to all faiths. There is no centralized faith in there. If you want to go worship whatever, they have shrines and such set up with no deities depicted, but kind of just as an open worship area.
so. I would say Agma, Selune, Lathander could be good. Those three would be good in my book. Thanks, God, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyone have any complaints to go into the Temple of Agma?
That should be where I would suggest, probably. Unless,
Who is the god of the House of Wonders?
Oh, that one was gone.
That was gone.
Gond.
Yep.
Yeah.
Invention crafts. Okay.
Yep.
I know I'm going to be a pain in the ass.
Is the moon goddess.
What was that, Forge?
I was gonna say I'm gonna be a pain in the ass, but can you repeat the name or the list of gods that are available?
Yeah.
Or copy paste if you don't want to.
I'm putting a link right in our chat.
If we want to get laid, let's go see Sune. If we want to get freaky in the forest, let's go see Mialiki.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's not see Tempest. I'm not familiar with Tyr. Mistra's
Mistra,
good.
Mistra would be good.
Sylvanas is also very naturey.
Tyr is like justice?
Tyr's justice, yeah.
You know, all of these, I mean, regardless of their specific face, who they're worshiping, they're going to have clerics that'll probably have these abilities, regardless of which one you pick. There just might be personalities that you have to deal with depending on which one you pick.
I would lean more towards Mistra because that seems more neutral in nature than going something that would be more lawful, and we need absolute truth. So a more neutral that will just give us exactly as it is, not try to sugarcoat it or make us feel a certain way about it.
I think we get to be there with them. So my initial thought was, knowledge god, because they seek knowledge. That seems good.
But we're not
Lathander.
We're not going to understand them though. We're not going to hear what the other individual is going to hear. We need somebody that's going to be more neutral ground. That's how Speak with Dead works. Individual speaking with them.
I thought the body would sit up and speak, and we would all hear it.
Is that the case?
I thought it did too.
Havoc? Am I misunderstanding Speak with Dead?
The corpse has to have a mouth to be able to do this. I'm pretty sure the corpse speaks verbally.
Yeah, the corpse does speak verbally. Like the spell won't work if the corpse doesn't have a head.
Yeah.
Okay, well then,
will it work if it's only a head?
Yeah.
Yeah, it will.
Oh shit, that's cool.
The only requirement is it still has to have a mouth.
Then I was misunderstanding. Yes, then okay.
And mouth is interpretable.
We could understand. Yeah.
Technically a mouth.
Jiro, for us all, thank you for the host. Very much appreciate it, my friend.
The gnome might speak gnomish, but that's fine. I understand gnomish. But probably he'll just speak common. I don't know. Just a thought.
Risk, what you feeling?
I'm good with this.
Who is the current Lord of Waterdeep?
I It's a lady.
Laeral
Laeral
Silverhand.
Silverhand.
And would I know who she worships?
Definitely Mistra, if she worships anybody, because she is a daughter of Mistra.
So I want to.
Shit. That's
Then
right,
I want
forgot she was,
to
like, half god.
avoid Mistra.
Okay.
I want to avoid anyone who could have affiliations with the official government, because we're kind of going behind their backs.
I mean, we have
official permission from like
Yeah.
someone who works for Laeral. Like, we're not that under the books.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with avoiding Mistra. Like,
But yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
think it's necessarily bad to avoid.
Well,
I feel
it's
like Ogma decent.
Talia, what do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know anything of your gods.
There's no Poseidon here. Sorry.
and especially if she's a daughter of Mistra, because I mean, the Lord's Alliance are legit people. We also have the Zents out looking for
Yeah, well, that's fair.
but that's my vote. Like, I'm not opposed to anything, but like that's just my thought process. I don't want to.
I think Ogma was one of the gods I was friendly, like, worship with. Do I know where the temple for Ogma is?
Yes.
Is it near the north
Trying to remember where
Or
everything
Castle Ward.
is.
or castle? That's all.
Make sure they don't have one.
The Castle Ward has Ogma tier. One I can't pronounce, Zhentarim, and Lathander.
Yeah, Castle Ward is where the Temple of Ogma is. It's going to be located up in the not Zhentarim. It is. Where's the Font of Knowledge? It's up in the northwest, to the left, to the west of the market. We can move you back to that so you can see.
Yeah, I was gonna say just so it's a map.
So I'm not the only one looking at this.
I think we'd like to go there.
We would like to go to there. I don't know. Did anybody object to?
I don't know. I feel like going to the Font of Knowledge sounds like exactly where we need to go. We're interested in learning something. Let's go to the place where it's gurgling out.
So everybody down to head up towards the Font of Knowledge and go seek out a cleric.
I also want to hear the description of
Yep.
the font of knowledge. It sounds awesome.
Okay.
It's
All
a
right.
sans serif, kind of like a Helvetica or a Garamond kind of font. It's very clean.
Get out.
Those are both serif fonts anyway, I think.
What a nerd.
All right. So as you set off out, paying your tab and such, from the Yawning Portal, a silver piece. You didn't have much. Heading out, you start heading to the north, staying within the castle ward. But you move north, heading up towards the Font of Knowledge, which you know is located very near to a place you've been before. You actually saw it kind of being transported back and forth between the Blackstaff Tower that you've been to a couple times. Yeah. So as you make your way north, you go to the city. Nothing untoward happening and such. Just another normal day here in Waterdeep. Moving forward and going up to the Font of Knowledge. As you arrive, you see at the Font of Knowledge, kind of like the House of Inspired Hands, this Temple of Gone that Jot is affiliated with and where you learned about the Niblewright. This place is similarly designed in such a way to not really personify what a lot of people would consider a house of worship. As you approach it, looking up to it, you see two great wooden doors are opened up, and as you walk up these massive marble steps into the Font of Knowledge itself, you see people streaming in and out of it occasionally. As you move inside of it, you see that the Font of Knowledge, obviously a temple to Ogma, as you see statues of Ogma presented in different areas. You see this place also is a great library, one that holds much knowledge within it. Kind of similar to Rashal's place, except dialed up to 11. The bookshelves and such reach floor to ceiling 30, 40, 50 feet up into the ceiling of this grand hall. You see several floors leading up with more and more bookshelves in this just great cathedral-looking room devoted to the seeking and the preservation of knowledge. As you start moving around, you see books covering everything: history, spellcrafting, things covering races, religious faiths. Once again, it's a temple of Ogma, but it seems to cover everything. Knowledge is their faith, essentially, here. You see various people moving around that you recognize as probably clerics of the place, wearing the symbol of Ogma, which is just a scroll, essentially a patch that they have up on the front of these grayish kind of robes, very plain looking. All of their hoods are kind of draped up as they move around and are studying books, reading tomes at tables and such. But you see a lot of people kind of moving back and forth, reading books and everything. How do you want to approach this?
Guys, I love it here. This is amazing. Diz would love it here. This is so cool.
Does there seem to be one person who's in charge?
Is there like a front desk?
Like the librarian at the front desk.
Yeah, like a librarian. Like they was checking out the scrolls to all the other guys.
You see, as you enter into it, this large desk manned by one woman, appears to be an elf, sitting behind. She's not wearing the gray robes that you're kind of seeing other people moving around are wearing. She's wearing just normal kind of attire, sitting back with spectacles across her eyes, leaning over a book. And as you're kind of moving in, kind of looking around, a bit lost, she kind of clears her throat. Yes, are you seeking something or someone?
Just like looking like doing.
Okay. Can I do it?
My friends here are looking for a cleric within your religion.
I'd like to make sure my holy symbol of Denir is out off my chain. Which its holy symbol of Denir is an eyeball with a candle above. Mm-hmm. So I just want to make sure that's present. And I want to be like, yes, we need the services of a cleric in our quest to find an answer to some very important questions to us.
With that, she nods, very plain look on her face as well. And knowledge is what you seek. You've come to the right place. Seek out anyone in the gray robes. They're all clerics of our order.
Is there anyone that you know personally that has experience in speaking with the dead? We need someone who's cool and collected and good with their words and is familiar enough to ask questions to help us find the answers from the dead, because we know they don't always want to be forthcoming with their honesty.
With that, she thinks for a moment, says, yes, we have one that is generally employed by the Watch or other organizations to speak with the dead, as well as sometimes reanimate them if need be, or resurrect them, I suppose. His name is Riros. She looks around for a second. She kind of points back behind her. Seated at that table, you see the man back there, and as you're looking, following her point, her arm and such, you see a man kind of huddled over, hood up and such. You can't really tell his features, but you see him kind of leaning over a book. You do see a subtle thing. You see wisps of purple kind of hanging out from the hood. It seems to be his hair. Kind of stands out a little bit, especially in contrast with the gray robes that he's wearing. With that, she points out Riros.
Let's
Kai.
that right.
Yeah, she kind of points back. That's Riros. Just seek him out.
Kai,
Yes.
do we want to resurrect the gnome? Or just speak with them?
No, we're not going to resurrect them. We're going to leave them dead. We're going to leave them as they are currently, but we're going to speak with them.
Okay, because she mentioned that they have priests who could bring back the dead, and I feel like if we could undo some of this evil, that would be a great benefit to the world.
Until we know for certain that this individual was not going to perform evil within our realm, then we don't want to bring them back. We'll speak to them first, and then we'll make a decision afterwards.
Further, I think it's a little outside of our pay range.
Agreed.
I've heard of this, and it's really expensive.
Would you
Same.
mind speaking with Reros? I honestly thought it was going to be way more difficult to find a cleric, and I had this whole spiel about how we were seeking a great question and we needed answers, and I feel like that would have really appealed to the Ogma people, but they were just like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so this whole like speech I had planned, I just don't even need. So since you're more familiar with undead, could you maybe talk to Reros? He's a cleric over here for us to talk to.
Sure. Kind of look
I'm
over
a little
in the
disappointed
direction.
that I don't.
Like, I just like I was so prepared, and
Yeah,
now they
I was
don't
to be
care.
like, we have a great question, and it needs.
I don't need your help. My story's fine. Just go. That's that guy.
It's fine. That guy over there, he'll take care of it. It's whatever.
Yeah, I'm like, really? That's it? You're just His name's Mike. Just go with.
I mean, people just talk.
Just
all
another
the time here.
Tuesday. Nobody
It's
cares.
just, yeah, normal day in
You
learning.
need to talk to a dead guy? Yeah, that's Reros, man. He's your guy. Like, you just,
I
Yeah.
feel like Ruros is actually now just like Kai in an alternate dimension.
That's pretty much. It's like, oh yeah, you. Okay, got it. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Got it.
oh, it's Tuesday. So how many dead guys do I need to talk to for you? Oh,
Yeah, okay. Well, I got to make sure I meet my quota. All right. Yeah. So we'll go over and speak with this individual then.
All right. Kai, you're the one going to be speaking to him?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So following the woman's directions, you're able to move back about 50 feet or so into this chamber, going through some alleyways of bookshelves. And you arrive at this kind of sitting area. There's several tables and such around. Most of them have at least one or two people sitting there reading books. But you're directed towards this man wearing, once again, gray robes and hood, but you see these wisps of what looks like purple hair laying down. As you approach him, kind of getting his attention, he looks up and you see a half-elf from what you can tell. You see this, kind of reddish hair going down his chin, very short, kind of cut off a bit. And that's the only facial area he has. As he looks up to you, you can see more clearly now. The purple you saw is clearly his hair. It's been dyed in such a way that it's almost neon purple, very, very bright. And as you kind of approach him, he looks up and he says, "Hello. What is your name, my friend?"
Of course. All right. Hi. My name is Kai Gladamine. These are my friends. We have a request for you. I know you are a little more fluent in the necromancy school of magic, so we would like to employ your services this evening. What was it, 9 to 10 bells tonight? Kind of look back to the party.
Yep.
Say, we are needing to speak with an individual who is no longer amongst the living.
With that, you see him kind of listening intently. You see him kind of lean over his book, crossing his hands in front of him. He nods, says, yes, I am. Very versed, I suppose, with necromancy as needed. You said 9 or 10 bells. Where would I be speaking to this individual?
Kind of look back at the others, because I don't believe I was in that conversation. Was
we
I?
shared the information though.
It was
Okay.
It was the northward thing.
It's in the North Ward. It's in what I called the Watch Tower or
guard
something like
tower.
that.
Yeah, guard
Guard
tower.
tower.
Yeah.
The Watch House.
Okay.
Watch House. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So
Apparently
kind of
there's
relay.
one per ward.
Right.
Apparently.
Okay.
So there's like one base of city guard.
For our ward, specifically the North Ward.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're going
okay.
to the one in the North Ward.
Okay, yeah, and kind of relay that we're going to go to the guardhouse in the North Ward, and Kai will obviously kind of look at the individual and say, we'll donate to the Church of Ogma as necessary to employ your services, should that be required.
As you're saying that, you see him kind of nodding and going on. As you mentioned donations, yes, donation, yes. I'm just glad it's not in the city of dead this time. That was quite a interesting experience. A couple wanted to speak to one of their cousins and such. It was very frightful. Turns out that the cousin was sleeping with her husband. Very interesting, that one.
So
But
scandalous.
Yes, quite. It was very fun to watch, though. So you said the guardhouse. Oh, so official guard business or something of the like? You don't look like guards.
Something of the sort. We're not quite members of the guard, but we have a personal ordeal that we would like to try to negotiate with the dead and understand. We understand that they were trying to come to us for aid, and we're trying to figure out exactly what that reason might be.
With that, you see Riros kind of nodding and seem to comb over your words. And he says, well, that seems reasonable, I suppose. And if you donate to the church, I am obligated to assist you. Well, what do I get out of it, though, I wonder? You see him kind of looking around and glancing at your friends and such, and she looks back at Josh.
She.
Kind of looking.
Sorry.
I keep saying she.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like, I thought this was a dude the whole time. It's a girl.
And I was like, wait, I misheard.
No, it's a he. Sorry. He keeps looking around at everybody, and he starts glancing over at Viz in his tiefling form and kind of sizes him up and down. Are you with this gentleman here? Kai, was it, I believe?
It was.
You bet. Visnoth, at your service.
Oh,
Deep bow.
Visnoth. Respectful, too. That's good.
And strong. Very strong.
Oh, even better.
Make my muscles look a little bigger. Maybe my
As
shirt
Ruros,
fits a little tighter now.
all of you see Ruros as he's looking at Visnoth, kind of, eyes up, down, back up again, kind of looking at Visnoth and kind of nods. Says, yes, you'll do nicely. If I am to do this,
has the goal to have one of the NPCs face.
I have no idea what you just said.
I'm sorry. I think at this point, Havoc just has the goal to have any of his NPCs bang your character.
as you're saying that and everything, he's eyeing up Visnoth. He turns back to Kai and says, yes. 25 gold pieces or so for the donation will cover everything. And then I want to talk to you. And he points at Visnoth.
Kai's just going to nod, bow kind of gracefully, and then immediately turn away. And as he turns away, he's going to kind of push his hand in the middle of Viz's back and push him forward, and then walk away.
Riros, if you really want to speak to me, then I think it would be fair for 25 gold pieces for you to be talking to at least 2 deceased people this evening, right?
Well, that depends, I suppose.
Turn on my tiefling charm.
With that, you see him once again. He's like, he looks around the rest of the group. Anyone else have any requests? If not, I'll be with your friend for a few minutes if you would like to browse our wares, browse the books and such. Here, plenty of knowledge for you to seek out.
I'm just gonna make eye contact with a Visnoth. Be like, are you okay? Okay.
I will. Is he sitting at a table?
Mm-hmm. Still sitting down.
I'm going to sit down across from him.
Okay.
And how's it going?
It's going well. I've seen something very interesting today. So as the rest of you kind of respectfully start moving back away from it and everything, Riros leans forward and says, why do you take on this facade? It's very interesting, really. I mean, a tiefling, most people do not take that of your caliber of matching one's looks with their environment, I suppose. Tieflings sometimes are frowned upon. I would like to know why you have taken this facade on.
Can I... So to Viz, changing personas is very, very natural. So he doesn't feel like he has one persona that's his natural to him. So do I feel like he's talking about my race as a changeling? He knows that I've I'm not always a tiefling.
Make a perception check. So as you
Cheers.
are kind of going through your mind and such, trying to figure out what's he talking about. You're checking his face, studying his face, trying to get some insight from it. And as you're looking, you see this small gleam in his eyes, and at first you think it's just the light playing tricks, and then you see this like gold circle surrounding his pupil. And as you're looking a bit closer, you can almost tell tiny, almost not quite, obviously not microscopic, but just so tiny, almost imperceptible, what appear to be arcane glyphs have been etched into his eyes. And as he's studying you up and down, he seems to be reading him. With that, he kind of looks around. He says, "Yes, I know you're a changeling. I see a man, white skin, tattoos, it seems, as well on your arms and body. Very interesting, very pleasing sight, really. Why have you chose a different facade, though?"
You see my true self?
With that, he smiles and nods his head. Yes, I have been given the gift of true sight. I see all around me, even if things want to hide from me.
I'm going to pull out my notebook and start writing. Tell me what I look like. I've adopted so many forms and changes that I can't truly remember what it is. You don't have to go into detail, but it's to Viz, I don't for sure remember what not being in a different form looks like. I seem to have forgotten myself. But to your question, I have adopted this persona to delegate. I feel it's easier to handle certain tasks and situations with different people. I've met people and I've built my personas off people I've met and people that have influenced my life. And I feel like that Visnath here is a gentleman and is someone that is able to deal with the difficult things in life. Viz, the individual that you see with your blessing, is a person that he's soft, to put simply. He has a hard time with dealing with difficult situations, and today got a little bit hard for him. 11 people died today, and making that a total of 19 people he's seen dead in his entire life, all of those being within the past 2 months. And mentally, he wasn't prepared to handle anything else today. He was in a dark spot, and this persona kind of bubbled up. It's one that he hasn't adopted in a long time, but it's someone who has felt the hardships of the world, of being judged by their physical appearance, and can deal with it, is able to just put all that stuff behind him. So what you see as my true self, which to me is debatable, because I feel like my true self is fluid, but I'm sure I have a natural form, which is why I asked you what I look like. I feel like this identity, this body, this person, right, Visnath, is more cope to deal with those things. He's been in tough situations. He can deal with the hardness. He can deal with loss and not let it get to him.
So as you're going on, Riros kind of listens intently. You see his eyes searching. He seems to be searching like your face and such, and then his eyes kind of wander a bit around you as he continues listening and nodding. He says, "That puts things into perspective as to what I see. I do see your true form, if you want to call it that, but it is... it's very interesting compared to things I've seen before. It's changing, it's fluent, it's almost as if this white form, this Viz, as you called it, seems to be moving in different directions, as if escaping into different facades. I see this elf with flowing red hair. I see this human, with a beard and black hair and such, strong and confident in their demeanors, whereas Viz seems to be confused, or not maybe confused, hesitant maybe, yes. It's very interesting. I have not ever seen anyone with such a sight as yours. That's why I had to talk with you. And I do apologize for the bluntness, but...
Oh no, it's good to speak to someone about such such things. I have friends who I care for greatly, and I would hate to burden them with the problems of fragility. Right? Why bother friends with issues of the mind and of the soul? It's silly things, but is that why you dye your hair purple? Do you wish to be more fluid, to adopt changes, and to experience things from a different perspective?
With
Do,
that, you
do
see
you
Riros
wish to be
raising
judged
an
for
eyebrow.
purple horns do you wish to be judged by your purple hair like I get judged for these horns?
With that, you see Riros kind of tilting his head, says, "No." And he kind of pulls back his hood, and as he does so, you see this like mohawk of purple hair coming across his head. As he does so, his robe kind of slumps a bit. You see like purple filigree coming up his robe that looks very dazzling and such. He says, "No, this is for the children. I perform bardic duties every once in a while as a side job. They find this very interesting, actually."
So do I. Do you have any purple trinkets?
That he thinks for a
I
moment.
met a gnome in a shop in the dock ward who demanded purple items from me, and I had nothing purple. And one day I wish to go back to him and give him a purple item. Also, he's totally a clown, and that's amazing.
I know, I love this.
As Riros thinks for a moment, he says, "Well, my instrument is purple, but I won't be parting with that, unfortunately. That is my means of extra work and such. The church doesn't pay me much."
I can relate.
With that,
Does he have a
nods as well.
nickname or a stage name?
Oh, somebody could ask. So with that, Riros kind of nods.
Bard to bard, if you're able to help us speak to at least 2 deceased people this evening, I could throw in an additional 5 gold to you personally, separate from the Church of Ogma, bard to bard, person to person.
With that, you see Riros kind of raising his head. "No, that won't be necessary, my friend. I will be observing you, though, if you don't mind my prying eyes. But that's all the payment I need. You are, once again, very interesting to me."
Honestly, it doesn't sound like I have a choice in the matter if you want to look at me or not.
You really don't.
Then I agree wholeheartedly.
Excellent. Well, your friend Kai said 8 or 9 bells, so would you like to meet around the North Ward guardhouse around, say 7:30, 8 or so?
I think it was 9 or...
Or was it
Yeah,
9 or 10?
we can meet
We
about
told
an hour
him 9 to 10.
early.
Yeah.
No problem. He wants to meet early. That's fine.
Just a few minutes early, essentially.
He could
is what
meet
he's
us
saying.
at the inn, and he could buy a couple of drinks, and we can make some of that money back.
Perfect.
25 fucking gold.
Thank you so much, Riros, for your time and the conversation. It's been a pleasure talking with you. I would also
thank you, Viz.
I would also appreciate if you see myself or other people like myself, that you keep our natures private. I've recently met some people who I think see my race as a benefit to them, and I wish for not too many people to know about that.
With that, you see, once again, this ever-present smile on Riros' face, and he shakes his head. "That won't be an issue. I have had this gift, I suppose, since I was born. I have seen all manners of the world, things that you could not imagine. I have held their secrets as need be. Most people don't believe me anyway, but I'm glad that you understood what I was seeing. It's enlightening, really, and comforting in a way, I suppose. I do appreciate it, and once again, I'm happy to use the spell a few times for you. Whatever questions you need asked. Once again, it is a bit cryptic sometimes. Oh, that is one question I need to ask. Do you know any of the deceased?"
Not personally. We know of them, and we know one of their names, a gnome gentleman, but we don't know any of the others.
With that, Riros nods, says, Good. If they do not hopefully know you too well, then things will go smoothly. If they know you, sometimes they may play tricks with their words and such. So if they don't know you, then this should be fairly straightforward."
So,
We try. You seem like the right man for the job. You you see a lot and you understand a lot, and I think you have a good perception of the world, and I think maybe you can help us guide our questions if we seem a little off base.
So CK is getting super weird vibes from this guy, but his risk.
Make an insight check.
Also, at first I thought it was a tattoo. I didn't realize it was like a birthmark. I was like, can I get a fucking true sight tattoo? That's the most badass thing I've ever heard of. Like,
Right?
that's sick.
So once again, all of you kind of moved away under Riros's,
Imagine
request.
you guys all like
essentially.
peering between bookshelves and stuff,
Yeah.
like pulling out books to look through.
You've gotten bits and pieces of the conversation. Riros and Viz really not doing much to keep their voices down. So you've kind of got a gist of what's going on. You're getting odd vibes, but not anything negative. It just seems like this guy seems a bit, eccentric, kind of knowing. It's a bit weird.
But not spying for the enemy. Weird.
No, you're not getting that. He seems very interested in Viz, though.
He is an interesting guy. I get it.
I'll let him know.
All right, so with
You're
that,
not here.
Riros agrees to meet at your tavern shortly before the established time to make your way to the guardhouse in the North Ward. Once again, under the request that you pay 25 gold pieces to the Church of Ogma as a donation, not a paying for service, as that would be unholy, as was put earlier. But with that taken care of, and Riros' personal request to speak and see Viz, you find yourselves heading back out of the Church of Ogma, or the Temple of Ogma, rather, the font of knowledge, if nothing else. Where do y'all want to go?
About what time is it now?
It's pushing towards the early evening hours, so about 4.5 bells or so. A couple hours have passed since you kind of made your way down the Yawning Portal, chilled out, and then walked up there.
Possibly just head home for a couple hours. I know Kai would probably want to probably grab his more nicer attire and just look like he's supposed to be in a place like the guardhouse, like he was invited there. But other than that, that's about it.
Also, as we're walking back to the Yawning Portal, whatever, do we see any other tieflings? Am I being super edgy by being a tiefling right now? I know it's not as multicultural as Neverwinter, but am I being punk rock by walking around with
Everyone's just
tail?
turning to watch you as you
that tieflings, it's general knowledge that tieflings are sometimes frowned upon in other places. Waterdeep being a very open and accepting place, tieflings are welcomed here and not treated any differently unless their actions command others to look at them differently. In your travels throughout Waterdeep, you've seen tieflings here and there. They're not very prominent. It's not, humans obviously the dominant race of Waterdeep, and then followed by elves and dwarves and half elves and things of that nature. Tieflings and probably in the lower percentile as far as the populace, slightly below half orcs, things of that nature.
But more common than Tortle, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
more
cool.
common than oversea races and things like that.
All right, cool.
At least we're not seeing a Warforged walking around the city right now. That would be super awkward.
Having CK has reminded me of something that I I meant to ask you about and then completely forgot. For the Niblewright detector.
The Whirlamig jig.
I meant to ask you this at the beginning of the session. I completely forgot. Is there because I see that you have to hold down the trigger to activate it.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have a charge to it?
Does it have a standby mode? Can we put a rubber band on it?
If I just walked around with holding the trigger down all the time, is it gonna be die? It's gonna run out of battery.
That name though.
Work?
Thank you
Or
for the follow.
Work all the time.
Much appreciate it.
I'm glad he asked. I meant to ask that at the beginning of the session. I forgot. The copy paste didn't say
it does
anything
not.
about it. Okay.
Nope, it can just be held down. I mean, you could be doing that. You haven't, once again, so that's been mentioned. But yeah, you could be walking around just holding it down. You would be walking around with a small little contraption just spinning and whirling and stuff. But if you're fine with that.
Pop that over my shoulder. You know, how weird is it really?
Oh,
Okay. We'll say that I do that while I walk. Just have it,
Okay.
like, popped over my shoulder. Okay.
all right. Does anybody have anything they're wanting to do, or just head back to the house and kind of wait until the destined time until you're getting ready to do this investigation further?
If
Pretty
we
much
have
just-
some time when we get to the tavern, I'm going to scribe the spells if I have enough time for it.
You'll have about 2.5 to 3 hours or so.
That's enough time. Okay, perfect.
Only thing I'm going to do is meditation, and that's about it.
If there's a point when Kai is not busy, I'd like to speak with him.
Okay.
Alrighty. So as you all head back, So as you all head back to the manor, making your way across town and out of the castle ward and back into the north ward, Jot now remembering about the Niblewright detector, kind of throwing it over his shoulder once again. It's like, oh yeah, we could just use this while we're walking around. You start traveling back through, and as you're doing so, it kind of spins and clicks on your shoulder and such, but as you were given the instructions, it'll make a whirring sound and be very boisterous, supposedly, according to Nim at least, about it detecting something within 500 feet. As you make your way kind of from the west, moving up Delzoran Street and kind of moving up into Trollskull Alley, you make it all the way there. It never seems to go off or change its demeanor. As you arrive back to Trollskull Alley, or Trollskull Manor, rather, you walk in, you see it's starting to get kind of later. You go ahead and check downstairs, and you do find Saddam McKinnon, your cook, has already arrived, opened the door, and is letting himself in to start preparing for the night. And as you walk in, you said you wanted to explain to him what had happened and such, and Saddam, in his very plain and simple manner, just says, yeah, I was kind of wondering about what happened down here, but I talked to a few locals, and like attack here. I'm glad you're all unharmed, not just for my job. You are nice people. But with that, he agrees to tell the other employees and instruct them that the tavern, the tavern will be open for the night, and he'll make sure everything's running smooth. He says, don't worry about it. If you want to stop by and check on things, if you have other things to take care of, we'll make sure everything works tonight. I imagine it'll be nothing like last night, so we should be able to handle it ourselves. Kai, as you're kind of nodding and listening to all this, he turns around and says, oh yeah, Kai, sir, something came in for you. Messenger dropped off something. Went up to the upstairs floor, but I caught him as I was coming in. He turns around and you see him move a sack out of the way. He's like, sorry, I got buried under the stuff I was preparing. And he pulls out this small box. He says it was addressed to you, I think, and he hands it over to you.
Okay. Gonna look over the box. What do I see? Anything in particular?
You see that it's you see crests of wood kind of coming out of the edges of what appears to be a wooden box. You see it's covered in this kind of parchment. As you're looking at it, it seems like something you're familiar with as you're kind of looking over it and looking down at it, because you see a clear symbol that you recognize upon the face of it. And as you're kind of looking down at it, you're able to tell it's about let me pull up the notes here. A few inches across in different diameter or different lengths all around it, sealed with this red wax seal at the top of it. And as you're kind of looking down, you say it's clearly closed up and tied off and hasn't been opened since it arrived.
Okay. Kai will look. Sadan, was it right? I think that's the guy's
Yes.
name. Kind of look over to Sadan and kind of nod and say thank you. I appreciate you getting this for me. Did it just arrive today?
With that, he nods, says, yes, an hour or so ago.
Very well. Kai's gonna kind of look around to everybody and say, can you excuse me for a minute? I need to go. And as like before anybody can even answer him, he's immediately like heading upstairs and heading towards his room.
Okay.
What did the package look like? What did it look like?
It looked like a box.
It looked like a box wrapped in parchment.
What's
in the fucking box?
What's in the fucking box?
All right, so you're all back at the manor. Kai has gotten a box. If y'all want to talk and stuff, go for it.
At some point, I want to go talk to Kai, but I'm going to let him. I'm going to give a man in his box a few moments of privacy. Risk.
Viz?
Viz now.
I'm Viz not, thank
I
you.
wasn't finished.
I was talking with Viz earlier, and we were talking about something. You had mentioned you wanted to learn Common, correct?
Wanted to read, learn to read and write in it. Yes, I can speak it obviously, but I don't know how to read in Common. I also can't see God.
Yeah, same. We're going to start working on something. We're kind of writing a curriculum. We're taking a little bit of a break from our book. We wanted to spend a little time and kind of come up with a curriculum to see if we could help you learn to read and write Common. I was hoping. I've been reading a little bit of Draconic in an effort to maybe, because you can write Draconic, we could find similar words and glyphs and kind of correlate the two, but I haven't been able to fully master the Draconic language yet. So, yeah, it's an effort. I do hope one day to consider myself a linguist, kind of master of languages. But in the meantime, we're working on a way, so I just want to let you know that we've started kind of working on some things, and maybe in some downtime, if we have some days, you and I can work together to start working on Common. The first thing I wanted to show you is this, and he's going to turn around the book, and he's going to have Risk's name spelled out in Common. And then also doing some research with his Draconic, like Draconic for Dummies. So what he thinks Risk's name would look like in Draconic, and kind of show like, I think this is your name in Draconic. This is how you write Risk in Common, and just kind of show him.
Seems way more simple. It's a lot fewer lines.
It sounds nicer too.
Yeah,
So,
I think
just as a heads up, like it's something that, when we have downtime, it's something, you want to work on, and we want to work. The Denier asks that we teach people to read and write. And I feel like if I'm going to teach anyone, I'd rather teach someone that we care for greatly.
I really appreciate that, Viz. Thank you.
Visnoth.
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 It sounds kind of demonic, right? Visnoth. Sounds tiefling-ish.
Yeah.
Sounds disappointed. Visnoth.
Okay. Anyone else want to do anything before I go talk to Kai?
Oh, Havoc, actually, I take that back. How much time did you say we had?
3 hours.
I do not have... It's 2 hours per spell level. Damn it! Why are wizards so hard?
Havoc, where was the plinth?
Oh, it's somewhere.
I've got
It's
it
probably
right
at the most southern point of the dock ward.
It's in the...
Surrounded by... Oh, wait. Remember that alley we found that was like Murder Lane and stuff?
It's in the trades ward.
Yeah, it's down in the trades ward.
Is there some glossary that I don't have in my handouts?
I put the link in our chat earlier.
I don't know how the internet works.
For right now, I transcribe shield.
Okay.
And if I have 2 hours tonight, I will transcribe identify.
And
But
where
I
is...
do... Actually, no. Let's see. That one I've borrowed. We'll flip that. I'll do identify first. I do also look through the book and see what other spells are in there because I'm just curious.
Okay, make an Arcana check.
Sure.
Nice. You see several spells within it. You see some stuff. It takes you a little while to, decipher. You see a spell called Arcane Lock, which allows you to magically lock doors and such without any kind of mechanical lock needed. You find another spell called Magic Weapon, which imbues any weapon you touch with magic. You see... Yeah, you don't know that one.
It's a non-wizard spell in the book?
No, it's a wizard spell, but it's just it's so complex it just escapes you. You see another spell that allows one to fly, and you can even cast this upon other people, allowing them to fly for a short amount of time. There's a couple other spells in there, but you can't decipher them. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and probably some more knowledge than you have right now.
Sure. Okay. And then I transcribe. What did I say? Identify.
Okay.
Kai.
Kai will kind of look up and look back towards the door. Yes.
I have something I need to give you from Viz, if you have a moment.
Sure. And Kai will kind of reach forward and slowly close the box that he has. And stand up and walk over towards the door and open it.
So Avisnoth is going to pull out a scroll, parchment scroll. It's decorated with bronze caps on either side. And he's going to hand it to you and be like, Viz made this for you. He felt like you would be a member of the party who would be the most capable of channeling this kind of magic.
Is there a seal or anything on it?
No, it's not sealed.
Kai will unfurl it and take a look.
It's a level 1 Cure Wounds spell scroll.
Okay.
Viz crafted that for you. The way your magic works, it seemed like you would be the most capable of channeling that kind of magics. What is this music we're listening to?
Super loud music now.
It's super cheery too.
Yeah, right.
Do. So he has
Kai will look at it and kind of nod, and I appreciate this. When you see Viz, let him know that I will be sure to put this to good use. Thank you for this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Have you done healing magic before?
I have briefly. I tend to focus more internal than anything else, but I am familiar. I've had some experience with it.
Well, it doesn't need any material components. It doesn't need anything than other for you to read the scroll. If that's a spell that you would normally be able to cast, then you shouldn't need to. It shouldn't be difficult for you. You shouldn't need to struggle to read anything like that. But Viz was a little hesitant. He was worried that giving you a scroll to save someone's life, that you might not use it.
Oh, no. Maybe there's a bit of a misconception about our religion, but life and everything that surrounds us, the living itself, that is what my religion is about. So preserving that is what is of utmost importance to us. This is exactly that. I will use this when it is necessary, and hopefully it will be at a time when it is needed for everybody.
Well, good. He spent almost all of his gold to make that. So use it wisely. He wanted to make sure that when he inevitably makes a mistake again and leaves this realm for eternity, that if someone else is injured, you can use that and save their lives at least. So have a good night, Kai. Enjoy your box. And Abisnath's going to walk off.
And Kai will kind of look back down at the scroll and kind of watch as Visnoth walks away and just slowly kind of close the door and just kind of focus on the scroll for a bit, kind of behind closed doors.
So I don't know how your class works. If Cure Wounds is in your spell list,
It is.
then you don't need to make a check or anything when you cast that because it's just level 1.
Yep. Yeah, it's a basic cleric. I just have different spells that are different spells that are part of other classes, kind of similar to like each domain has like spells that wouldn't normally be a cleric spell. That's kind of what this is. It's the same principle. But yeah,
Okay,
Cure Wounds is a base one.
Just don't mix that up with Inflict Wounds when you cast it.
Yeah,
please.
It's fine. Inflict Wounds. Oh, wait,
Feel
hold
better.
on, wrong
No,
one. Cure
no.
Wounds.
Oh,
I may
supposed
cure
to-
them.
I used the wrong hand. Hold on, wait.
So there was a little bit.
Kai is
I-
Moira.
Right?
That's my
So
pain
this-
hand.
This is me, Steve. So I read in the DMG, I was looking at items, and it says a scroll. It says anyone can make a scroll, and they can make an Arcana check to do it. But then later it says if you use a spell scroll, it has to be within your spell list to cast. So I was gonna make a healing word spell for Jot and a cure wounds for Kai, but because healing word is not in the wizard spell list, Jot would never be able to cast it.
Right.
So there's like magic items like a scroll of protection and other stuff that anyone can cast, even though it's not a spell. So
And this goes back to the out of character discussion we were having earlier, where I mentioned it would be in the realm of possibility for Kai to take Cure Wounds. It's just a personal preference at this
so
point.
now this is just one free Cure Wounds, read this spell. If Viz is already dead, please God save somebody else.
Yeah.
Also, I'm broke now, so
Yeah. Good thing you have Sugar Daddy Kai paying for everything.
so poor.
Sugar mommy.
How much
Kai.
gold do you have?
Literally, Kai is just spending every bit of gold like it's fucking candy.
That well's gonna run dry, my friend.
One of these days, it's going to run dry, and Kai's going to be like, "What do you mean I have no gold?"
But it's a black card. Of course, there's money. Of course, there's credit. Do you know who I am?
Preposterous. I
Do
have
you
fine
know
wine
who I
every
am?
evening.
Look at me. I'm decorated in wealth and gems.
Sir, that's a cloth sack you're wearing over your head. The tailor told me it was the finest silk. Anyway, all right, so you find yourselves talking and such and kind of resting up, waiting for this evening excursion that you're going to find yourself going on to the guardhouse here in the North Ward to possibly do something no one here has done before, and that is speak with someone who is deceased, not in a spiritual context, but literally talking to someone who's dead. Even Kai hasn't gotten this quite yet, this experience, so it's going to be maybe a learning thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
So as it gets later, all of you sitting around, you hear a polite knock on the door, either if you're all upstairs and it's on the outside door there, if it's and you see Ruros has shown up as promised a little bit early, but that gives you enough 20-30 minutes to travel up towards where the guardhouse to lay, and that is up to the north here, just off of the high road, this kind of large building here right next to the gate. That is the guardhouse for the North Ward. So with that, Ruros greets you all and says, well, we might as well get this lovely business concluded. Lead the way, my friends. And
All right.
you set off.
Yep, and Kai will kind of lead the way. Do we know the exact location of the guardhouse?
Yeah, that's where the token is.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see the token move. My cursor wasn't up.
It's like magic.
Like magic. Yeah, so as we approach, I'll kind of look back. towards Risk and kind of motion and say, you're the one that set this whole thing up. Perhaps you should be the one to speak to them.
Am I?
Technically, you were there, yeah.
Technically, you were there. Oh, okay.
Risk was present.
All
Risk
right.
was present.
Oh yeah, the risk is gonna. Do we see a front door?
So as we're approaching, and including Riros, maybe kind of pick his brain during the walk. Like, I feel like when we speak to the gnome, we can say we have mutual friends with Prince Neverember, whatever, blah 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 blah. But with the if we get to talk to the Zhentarim as well, would it be beneficial for Risk and Kai to be like, we're also members of the Zhentarim. Why didn't you execute the plan, man, or something like that?
Kai's not part of the Zhentarim.
I thought you said you had connections with them.
No.
You specifically said, in my dealings with them, blah, 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 blah. So I thought that meant you had dealt with them. And
He's dealt with them, but he has no connections to them.
They're all over the Sword Coast.
They literally are all over every place.
They are the biggest mercenary company in the Sword Coast.
Yeah.
So as you're inquiring about this, Viz, Riros kind of shakes his head. It's like, it doesn't quite work that way. When I cast this spell, you'll be able to ask questions. You need to be concise and clear with said questions. So things like, what is your age? And the corpse will answer to the best of their ability. And they can lie, unfortunately. This is not a zone of truth. But once again, clear and concise questions are needed. I obviously have none, so I will cast a spell and then get out of your way. Yes,
How many
Josh.
questions can we ask?
You will have 10 minutes, so how many can you ask in 10 minutes?
Oh, okay.
Plenty.
so many.
Risk is going to try and get Jot's attention.
Oh, sorry, no, he's like,
Yeah.
just kidding. 5 questions.
5 minutes or sorry, 10 minutes or 5.
10 minutes or 5 questions. You'll have 10 minutes to ask 5 questions.
So we should probably try to decide some of the questions first.
Kai is going to kind of look back at the party and say, the immediate question is, where was he heading? Because even though he was heading towards our manor, that doesn't mean he was actually coming to us. So we need to understand where he was going.
But then if he says us, then it's one more question of
we
We
could,
can
Why
ask
were you-
why.
we could lead with
why were you...
coming to see us, and then if he
No,
goes,
why-
I wasn't, then we've answered that.
No,
But if
what were you trying to accomplish by going to your destination?
Okay.
yes,
Then
And
it's regardless of where.
that's
he was
good. Yep. And then if he says he was coming to us, then we can say, well, I mean,
Well,
that
that
should
should-
be
that
covered
should
in
tell-
the
that should
first.
tell us-
Yeah.
We can
Why?
also-
Yeah.
We have 10 minutes, so we can kind of like, as they respond, we can like decide on what question
Yeah,
we want
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
Does
ask.
his corpse feel pain, or is it just a consciousness thing?
It's just consciousness.
It's just like a spirit
Does
thing.
it feel pain?
It's already dead. I mean, it doesn't feel anything.
Well,
It's
some
its
creatures,
spirit
like,
is
take
responding.
some
What
stuff
love
when you
is.
kill them, their nerve endings
Ca-
still
but-
work.
The
So-
unfortunate, unfortunately, you can't. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna like try to meta this, but like, you can't speak to a body if the spirit isn't there to communicate.
Yeah.
I
So,
know only from personal experience, but that's fine.
Viznoth will be like, Viz did ask me to say he would like to ask the gnome a question. He would like to know if there's anything we can do for the gnome to help him. If we need to contact his wife or his loved ones. But again, that's just Viz being a little bitch. So, I mean, that's not really relevant to us. But I'm just passing on the message. That is something Viz really wanted. He wanted to try and like make the gnome's life better, even though his life's already ended, and it's just frivolous. So I'm just
Kai
passing the
will-
message out there.
Kai will
Maybe
kind of
Viz
place
should
his.
tell us that himself.
Kai will
I
place
agree.
his. hand on the shoulder of Visnoth and say, "No, we understand. We will ask that."
I mean,
We should
don't waste a
also-
question if we have better
No,
ones.
we absolutely should waste a question on that, because that's not really a waste. That's worth asking.
If we only get 3, I feel like a good one too would be like,
We need to
5.
understand. We need to understand why the individuals were chasing him.
Who, what, when, where, why.
yeah, I feel like who
Yes.
is better, right? Like, because if we know who
Well,
the person
no,
is
we
that stole the
understand.
thing,
We understand that it's the Zhentarim that was chasing him. We need to understand what it was that they were after. That's the important thing.
I thought you mentioned that Prince Neverember mentioned what it was. The map to the Stone of
But
Gondor.
we don't know. We don't know.
Galore.
Ravage just over there like, these fucks.
We don't know for certain that that's what he had, though.
That's true.
I mean,
but-
we're going on the assumption that that's what he had, and he had that understanding. But for certain,
true.
we don't know that the individual had that item, and they were bringing it to us, or anything in that nature.
Do we think, if he knows why, because if we could find out the man or woman specifically that took the thing from him, because we can't really go about asking me like, do you know any Zhentarims that stole a thing off a dead gnome? But if we could be like, hey, and then also, do we think,
You got
Hold on. Do
really
we think-
robotic there.
Yeah,
we
you
think-
got robotic.
do we think Dalekar, am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Dalekar knows anything about the Niblewright?
So I would imagine.
Or do we feel like the Niblewright was specifically trying to get the Black Network guys?
I feel like, and I don't know, but it seems to me that the Zhentarim wouldn't want their own people killed. So it's
But there's 2 factions of
Seems-
Zhentarim.
Yeah, but even still,
So,
they
but-
wouldn't
but
want to
then-
see
but-
their own people dead.
but in that case, then oh god, what's your fucking friend's name?
Yager? Istrid?
No, the D guy.
Dabble.
Dabble. I wanted to say Dairon, which is not right. Dabble would have known about the Niblewright if that was because he was saying
Not
the
if it was
Zins that were
the
killed
other.
were not his faction.
Correct.
So if we're saying that the Niblewright was a Zint, that would have to be his faction if it was a different faction.
But we know the
I
Nimble.
think the Niblewright is controlled by some unknown.
I think it's the
other
Xanathar.
person.
Mm,
That's
well,
my guess, but I don't know.
Right, but out of character, yes, I think so too.
Yeah,
but
that's
in
an out of
character,
guess, yeah.
yeah, in character, I don't think that. I think the Niblewright is acting on its own accord. It saw something it didn't like and was like, "Hey, fireball! Drop it on top of this."
Where did it get the necklace?
Well,
Exactly.
we were told that the Xanathar were after the stone.
Well, and Nim also said that the Niblewright basically would imprint on
Mhm.
someone else.
Right.
So someone else is in control of the Niblewright.
So maybe we should ask if the gnome knew of the Niblewright to begin with.
Should we
And-
have?
If it did, then possibly the Niblewright had imprinted on the gnome, and
But
that's
then why
why
would it throw a fireball at him?
because it was trying to protect or rescue, possibly. Maybe I don't
Maybe
know.
it rolled a 1.
I think it's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I
it's-
feel like it's capable. Like it's capable of following orders pretty decently, and I can't imagine a situation where the gnome would be like, "Throw a fireball
At
towards
me.
Like,
Or what if it was?
Yeah.
If it looks like I'm going to get captured, take us all out.
Yeah,
Possibly.
So again,
maybe, but I don't know.
if it was a map to the Stone of Galore, maybe the fireball would destroy the map. Right?
I mean, we don't know what the fuck
true.
the Stone of Galore is, even. Like,
It's probably a stone.
Maybe.
Well,
Should we
I
have-
mean, we know what the Stone of Galore does because we were told that it leads to fortune.
I can't
It's
imagine
literally
a
what they
situation-
just told us in the Yawning Portal.
I just feel like it doesn't make sense for him to be like, someone else kill me. Maybe like of his own accord.
here's
but
But
another
if
thing,
it's
too.
to keep the money out of the hands of the Zhentarim, though,
I would, if he had his own necklace of fireball and throw it on himself. Sure, maybe like
Well,
suicide
maybe we
type thing.
maybe we ask, Delacar, who told him to do the thing he's doing, right? Like, what faction he's a part of, or something like that. Like,
for Raynar's father.
right? But why would Raynar's father care about us? Right. So
Real quick.
someone.
Should we be, because we have a time limit now? Should we have Jot talk to the
We don't
gnome
have a
and
time
gnome?
limit yet.
No,
The spell hasn't been
chat.
cast
No,
yet.
chat. We have
no, in chat, we
Haven's giving us 4
Havoc
minutes.
gave
You
us
have
4
an
minutes to
real
talk.
life time
Where did
limit.
that happen? I didn't see it.
Should we
Just
have
now.
Jot
Okay.
talk to the gnome in gnomish so it's not overheard?
No.
No,
Trust-
no, we need to hear it.
I trust anyone
Fine.
with purple hair.
I think we start with
You do?
where were you? Like, what was your objective before you died? Or like,
What
where
if he
were you
says
going?
like eternal peace though, or something? I feel like we need to be more specific. What if he's like 27 grandkids and I want to own a mansion?
I still
I still feel like, why were you coming to see us when you died?
I- I think what was your destination and purpose is a better question than why were you coming to see us, because if we say why were you coming to see us, it could just respond I was not coming to see you. It doesn't have
But
to
then
say
we know-
anything more than that. But you can say what was your destination and purpose, and it could give you its destination and purpose.
Okay. How about I'll let you ask the questions, and we'll
Okay.
just, as we go, we may change them because we have 10 minutes to
Yeah.
decide stuff.
I can at least ask the first couple of questions, and then if you guys have questions that come up, we can go from there.
What if we asked what happened this morning?
I died.
Well,
I mean, it could literally just be as simple as I died.
They
It
can be
can.
as vague as they want to
Mhm.
with the answers. So
I mean, we could
that's the
say,
problem.
could you describe?
if he was killed, he'd want to
moments-
be vague.
I mean, but you know, we could say like, could you describe the moments leading up to your death or something like that? That's a good idea.
We have
We kind of know what they are.
an
We have.
idea of the. I don't know. Okay, we're just gonna go.
Well,
We're just gonna go.
we're assuming that the Zhentarim people there were actually trying to hurt him and not like a staged thing or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay, I'll roll with the first two that I have, and then we'll go
Or
from
at
there.
least the first one, and then we'll hear his
At
answer.
least the first one, see his answer, and then go from there. All right, we're good.
All right.
Have it.
Okay. I wanted to play too, so I gave you all time limits.
We're gonna
All
spend
right.
like 30 minutes discussing
Well,
our
yeah,
questions.
Havoc was like, you guys have 3 hours. Anything you want to do? We're like, nope. 3 minutes in. Actually, wait. There's all
Yes.
this shit we wanted to do.
We
Oh
made
my
a
god.
mistake.
There's a million things. We did this
but here
wrong.
we are. So as
I
you
was
arrive,
transcribing a spell, okay? I was busy.
all right, I will I'll give y'all within 10 minutes for each time this is cast.
Okay.
Riros is going to agree to cast this up to 3 times.
Okay.
He says after it casts, can't cast it on, he maintains it essentially on
Yep.
this target. I'm going to give you up to 10 minutes. I will give you real life 10 minutes to ask your 5 questions.
Okay.
Whichever comes first. So
God, real
when
life
we
10
start
minutes?
real life 10 minutes
Yep.
up to real life 10 minutes or 5 questions. I'm not going to make, sit there for 10 minutes, obviously.
Okay. Yep.
All right. So I just didn't want us to discuss it forever without actually getting
That's
into
fine.
it.
I understand.
All right. So
We could
with
obviously
that,
spend like 30 minutes deciding our questions. So.
I would hope so. All right. So with that, you find yourself once again, dusk and night has fallen across Waterdeep. You find yourselves arriving at the guardhouse here. You see a couple guards, excuse me, a couple of guards stationed out front of it with a large door in front of it, this 2-story building. As you make your way forward, they question you, asking what's your purpose here. But Risk or Viz basically say, we're here on Lord's Alliance business, and we're here to see the bodies. With that, the guard at the front nods, says he was expecting you, essentially. And with that, the first guard lets you in, and the other guard says, "Follow me." With that, you're led through the guardhouse. You see it's a very office-looking area, desks and such, all empty at this point, as it's pretty late, minus a couple people kind of still in the office there. The guard leads you further back, and you see a set of stairs, one leading up, or two sets of stairs, one leading up and one leading down. And with that, he motions for you to follow for the one leading down into this basement. As you follow, you find yourself in a very stone-looking basement, still all carved stone and such, still very nice-looking. He leads you through a couple of corridors. It's much larger than your basement in Trollskull Manor, but still a basement nonetheless. He leads you past a couple of doors and then gets to another one, and as he opens it, he says this is the morgue, essentially. He says all the bodies have had gentle repose cast on them, so don't worry about the smell. He kind of motions towards Riros, recognizing him as a cleric of Ogma, saying, "Take care of your business. Once you're done, I'll be waiting outside. Simply knock on the door, and I will allow you in." With that, he sends you inside the room, locking it behind you. You hear the audible click of a large lock being locked into place. And with that, you see the bodies, the 11 bodies from the morning that you saw strewn across the street, but now under these kind of white linens and such covered up. Obviously, some form of autopsy has been performed on them, though you imagine it was very brief, as the fireball spell obviously killed all of them. So once again, you see all the different bodies, which I will tell you or remind you.
Life sense goes crazy because gentle repose.
Yes. So once again, one elderly female human, two that you recognize as the two male humans that were cloaked, two female humans, and one half-elf that you remember were the plainclothes kind of servants that were unfortunately caught in the blast. You see the gnome, rather, the rock gnome, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the four halflings, the two female and two male halflings. With that, Riros kind of observing the bodies and such, kind of nods as well. Where shall I begin?
Kai will point at the rock gnome.
Very well. And with that, Riros moves over, begins. You see him kind of pulling out a pocket, this small little, not quite a vase, but like kind of cut in half. And you see that there's a stick kind of pulled out of it and stuck inside of it afterwards. And with that, he holds out his hand, and you see a small flame produced, and it begins burning this incense. With that, he begins to chant, a few moments to do so. And then you see the body kind of shudder a bit and roll just ever so slightly. Its eyes of this gnome pop open and are just staring kind of dead at the ceiling. And with that, Riros turns around and says, "He is ready. Ask away."
Kai will step forward and say, Dalakar, what was your destination and purpose at the time of your death?
With that, this obviously not the voice of someone with the living, this cryptic, very almost groaning, it's almost speaking in a groan at the same time, begins to speak to you and answering the question.
Dalakar heard about group adventurers rescued Lord Niblewright's son from Zhentarim and thought Stone of Galore be safe in their hands for time on way to deliver to them, planning to come back, reclaim it after eluded pursuers. Fireball.
I had a very hard time understanding that.
Holy
at
shit, that was
Zhentarim.
terrifying.
That was so
Oh my
scary.
god.
What the
I will be
fuck?
posting the transcript of these in general into chat.
Okay, thank you. It's like that when that started, I freaked out.
Oh my god, yeah, I was like, holy shit. It was like group of adventurers. I was like,
Okay,
holy shit,
perfect.
that's us.
Perfect. Thank you for the transcript. Okay.
That was cool, Havoc.
That was very cool. I had so much trouble understanding it. I only caught like half the words.
All right, so as we speak, everyone make sure you
Okay.
don't say anything in the form of
Yeah.
a question. We were meant to protect... Sorry, this is a statement. He was bringing it to us, and we were supposed to protect it for a specific amount of time.
Oh shit, he was bringing it. Fuck.
The stone. Which means the person that stole the thing stole the stone.
Stole the stone.
I'm
I don't
going
know.
to ask if
Hang on, wait.
I'm
Before you
going
ask
to.
your question, tell-
I'm going. That's what I'm doing. Like in character, Kai's saying without asking a question. I'm going to ask Dalakar if he understands where they took the stone to.
I don't think we should not ask yes or no questions.
Correct.
I feel so stressed because I know there's a timer going.
Kai will
We've
immediately
got
turn.
7 minutes, by the way, guys.
Kai will immediately turn to Dalakar and say, "Where did they take the stone of Golar to?"
Once again, this cryptic voice enters your ears as it's spoken from this dead corpse. Don't know.
Shit.
I like Risk's proposal. Looking for names.
Yeah.
Like
Wait, we've got 3 left, Havoc.
We do.
Yeah. 3 left.
That's
Um,
two. That's two you've asked.
two
for.
of you.
Yep.
2 we've asked. Yes, yeah.
Yep,
Okay,
we have
I thought you
3
said
left.
2 left.
No, we have 3 left. I will ask if
I mean, we know who it's
Dalakar
from.
knows the individuals
no.
in charge. No,
No, he said I will ask. He hasn't asked me yet. He hasn't asked me
he's
yet.
not asking. I'm specifically stating it in the form of
Oh.
a statement, so
Well,
it
you
doesn't
said
come
you-
across as a question.
You said I will ask if. We need to ask who.
Yes,
Again, we
but
should do-
yeah, I'm saying that in like a generalized statement,
Okay,
and then will
all
be
right.
rephrased. So Kai will immediately turn to Dalakar and say, "Who are the individuals in charge of the attack to take the stone?"
Say it one more time for me.
I'll rephrase it in a better manner. Who are the individuals in charge of the attack to take back the stone? Or to take the stone?
From him, or you're asking him
From
who he...
him.
Okay. So with that, once again, cryptic voice.
I feel actual anxiety right now.
I do too.
Right now.
Once again, the voice answers, saying, Zhentarim, Xanathar Guild.
Yeah.
And he'll even explain more on top of that.
Good question, guys.
Dalakar stole artifact called Stone of Galore from Lair Beholder known Xanathar dungeon deep below city.
Okay. So Xanathar Guild has the item.
No. Dalakar stole it from...
Stole it, but he believes they stole it back.
But no, he mentioned Zhentarim. Havoc mentioned God mentioned Zhentarim.
He said Zhentarim Xanathar.
And Xanathar.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's
Yes.
still maybe he's saying it could be iffy because we definitely know the people
Zen's-
there.
Zen's
for
definitely
sure
attacked
Zen's.
him,
But
but
that
probably also
that
Xanathar.
that also
Nibble-
feels very
Niblewright could be-
intentional, though. Could it? Okay, I'm not going to say that.
All right.
Xanathar,
We're all like,
Zhentarim, Xanathar mentioning both in the same sentence could definitely
Seemed like
be a
one
connection. It seems like one thing.
So maybe this nope. There's a possibility that the other Xanathar or that the other Zhentarim guild could be working with the Zhentarim. Like
Xanathar.
those two could.
Could.
What?
Yes.
Havoc
Two
put,
working together.
like
Yes.
Oh.
The
we know
same.
Zen's
One
were
and the
attacking
same.
him. Yeah.
No,
It could
Yeah.
be one and the same.
well,
So
Eh,
the possibilities of our next question could include specific individual names or regarding the Niblewright.
or it could say, how do we get into this dungeon?
Or
We
I
don't
could
know.
ask where to find the Xanathar guild.
we already know.
And
How do we know?
hold up?
Do we?
We were already down there.
We
We found
know
a-
a individual. That's not the entire Xanathar
That was in the
guild.
sewers. I don't think that's deep below the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to go anywhere near a beholder. Just to be clear, Lair of Beholder sounds like somewhere we should not go.
Fuck,
Okay,
400
holy shit, guys. All right, two questions. What are the questions? We have two more questions to ask. I would like to know which questions you would like me to ask.
I feel like
Trying
a
to
very
phrase
good
this very
question
carefully.
would be like, could you give us the names of any of the people who attacked you? That would be a good question.
No,
But
he
that's
honestly
not
doesn't
going
know,
to
right?
lead us
already
anywhere.
asked.
That's going to be a dead end.
No, but I mean, a specific name would be good because then we
But
can
wait, what was the question he said he
I
didn't know
don't
to?
know.
Yeah,
where it was going.
Yeah.
Right.
Where did they take
Yes.
the stone?
Where did they take the stone? He didn't know that answer.
Oh,
So
wait,
asking
yeah, I'm so
asking
stressed
the
about
name
that.
of an
I would know that they
individual
were
isn't going to
attacking.
change that. Asking the
city
name
of
of an
Well,
individual
well,
won't
it
change
was Joe. Fuck.
Let me go find Joe's wife and shake her up. I don't know. All right. What about? Sorry. Another good question would be to find out about his follow-up plans, what he was going to do after, or another good question would be to find out what made him choose us, or who hired him to choose us. Would also be a good question. Also, a really good question from Talia. Right, because Prince Neverember mentioned the theory of what it does, but he didn't believe it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. What does the stone do? I mean, that's maybe a decent question. Confirm that.
As Jot says that out
God
loud.
damn it.
Ah!
Fine.
Stone floor. Keep finding the horde of dragons in city.
A horde. I thought he said
A horde of dragons, which is
I was way more concerned. Okay.
gold. Dragons, which is gold. Okay.
Oh my god,
2 minutes.
they're stealing dragons. Dun, dun. Cue the title screen.
Timer, people, focus.
I'm sorry.
I
Uh,
think
What else to ask? I feel
I
like
think
asking a form of the like.
I think a good last question would be to ask this individual if there's anything that he would like us to do.
That seems
I-
like such a waste, in my opinion. What we should do is we should find.
Go ahead.
I think
Quickly.
I think it would be more beneficial for us to find out what their next plans were. If we were to be holders of the items they had to have a backup plan, or what were we supposed to do with the item, or something like that. I feel like there's more.
He already told us to hold it till he comes back for it.
I feel like we should ask
Until what?
if...
What determined that amount of time?
I feel like we should ask if they know where the Xanathar can be found.
We trust you. Kai, we trust you. Go ahead.
Go.
Kai will ask, Dalakar, do you know where we can find members of the Xanathar Guild?
And as Ruros is kind of raising a finger, once again the head begins to speak in this cryptic voice. Sewers. And with that, you see the incense flare out by itself. The eyes close upon Dalagar, and he is dead once again. And Ruros chimes in, well, time is up on that one. You have
That was
2 more.
so stressful. I didn't expect it to be that stressful.
This is fun. Are you having fun? I'm having fun.
I'm definitely having fun with this. This is amazing.
God, it's so fun, but it's so stressful.
It's amazing, but so stressful.
Looking forward to this.
It is a fun, like, mind teaser to be like,
Yeah.
how do I say this without ending in the question?
Kai's going to look to... What was the guy's name that's with us again?
Dalakar.
Wait.
Dalakar. No, the other guy.
Ruros.
The gnome is Dalakar.
Kai's going to look to Ruros and say, can we have 5 minutes? I mean, we have
What that
an
was-
hour, so we have an hour in here.
Oh, I suppose 5 minutes will not be too much of a drag. 5
about-
minutes.
We get 5 questions. There's 5 of us. What if each one of us picks a question?
Thank you so much
That
for your
seems so stressful. As it
Ruros
is.
agrees.
That does.
Give you
Not stressed
5
out.
minutes. We will resume questioning at 11:25 my time. I'm gonna get another beer while y'all are
I gotta
Okay.
pee so bad.
Yeah. So
We don't have
go ahead.
time.
Oh,
to
wait,
leave.
you're leaving? Hold on, wait. That wasn't the point of this. Everybody
8
stay.
Okay, wait.
Okay, we can have
You'll
5 minutes
you'll
and
have 8
then...
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
8 minutes is
Okay,
what you have.
So we're talking. Are we talking to? I mean, we're talking to one of the Zents, right?
Right.
Next. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll talk to one of them, figure out what their plan was, where they were taking it. So my idea is we'll ask them, had you captured the stone, where would you take it?
Keep in mind, they can lie.
They can. You're absolutely
They
right.
could also just say back to our boss.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
not a
they
location, that's a person.
Or they could say
They
we don't
can
know.
be
we're
as
just doing
vague
what
as
we're
they
told.
want.
It's true.
Like, he was helpful because he wanted to help us. If they think that we are hostile to them, they can straight up lie. They can be as there's no restriction
It's true,
on
yeah.
the response.
Also, I'm kind of wondering if the Zents aren't going to work with us. What if there's someone else here that like knows more than we think they do?
What was the other person that I missed on that list? I keep missing
I don't know.
one
We'll have to
person.
ask her. I thought it was a female elf.
So
that was a servant.
There was the elderly female human, the 2 cloaked humans, the female human, or the 2 female humans,
The kid.
the kid.
The kid wasn't dead.
wasn't
This
dead.
is dead bodies.
Right.
No, I thought didn't the kid have a friend die?
His friends were the 4
That was
No.
the halflings.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I have.
I have a quick clarification question. So on the list of dead people, 1 elderly female human,
Mm-hmm.
2 male cloaked humans. Those were the ones that had the Zent tattoos.
Correct.
2 female humans.
1 second, pulling up my list.
Uh-huh.
Shit, where's it at?
Like one of these people that we're not expecting is involved. I think.
1 elderly female human, 2 cloaked male humans, 2 female humans, and 1 half elf dressed in plain clothes.
That's
1 male
half
gnome, and then 2 female halflings who were playing.
2
one's the half-
halflings?
4 halflings. There were
4,
2
okay,
male
that's
and
what I
2
thought.
females. Yeah.
1 half elf.
So we're
Male?
going to talk to the Zhentarim next. Is that correct?
At least 1 Zhentarim.
I'm going to cast minor illusion on all of us to give us all Zhentarim tattoos.
Just like right on the neck.
Yeah, like I feel like if we're gonna talk to Zhentarim, we should look like we're a part of them, right? It certainly wouldn't hurt. At the very least, you have a cool tattoo for a minute. Shit.
maybe just like.
I'm gonna give
we just like flash
Maybe just
it
give
and
the
then
tattoo to Riz.
I'm gonna give myself a big ass Zhentarim tattoo
Just
because mine doesn't go away. Just on my fucking neck. Just it's like a dragon snake.
A winged snake.
Wing snake. It's gonna be like a wing snake. It's gonna be crawling up, and it's gonna be.
It's a wing snake pointing down with a circle at the mouth.
Just kidding. Its tail's gonna be hanging up near my cheek. I don't know. All right, what are we asking these guys?
All right, so
No idea what to ask these guys.
I'm gonna stick with my initial first question of asking: had they gathered the artifact? Where were they taking it?
I would really like to know their boss.
Maybe.
So we know the.
Yes.
Who are you taking it to?
Well, that could
Okay.
be different than their boss, though. But knowing the boss
Could.
of the second
I-
Zhentarim guild would be very
I think-
beneficial to us.
Who
Yes.
are you?
You have it.
Who are you taking it to? Much
So,
more interesting.
but I could roll that into one question. So I
Go
could
for it.
say, where
But
are you
I think-
taking, and where and who were you taking the item to?
Yeah, I think who is a much more interesting question
Okay.
than where.
Okay. All right. I think I'm ready for at least question one.
Fuck, we don't know what we're doing after that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to cheat the system and get 2 questions out of 1. So
Bring
I
it,
think-
Havoc. Let's do it.
All right. So Riros taking your lead. You're questioning one of the Zhentarim. One of them. Okay. So you move up to the first man. Once again, the features for the most part could be pretty much identical. So with that, you move up to him. Once again, he moves the incense over, begins burning it, chants for a few moments. You see this man's eyes, side of his face, unfortunately, slightly burned, but his eyes open up wide. And that Riros turns around and says, "It's ready for you."
What were you after, and who do you work for?
Okay.
Let's start there.
I feel like we're on Family Feud.
Okay, that's going to be 2.
Okay. Oh, will it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just go with.
That's 2
Okay.
questions.
We already know what they were after. Just who do you work
Yeah.
for?
Who do you work for?
Who is your daddy?
Who's your daddy?
Okay. He's gonna, because I want to use more voice lines
'Cause-
because they're fun.
Go
Yeah,
for it.
we
Yeah,
know.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, okay, yeah. If there's voice lines, let's do it.
Do we need to shape our question in a way that better suits your narrative?
Tell us what to say, please. Just
Please
drop it
tell
in
us what to
chat.
say, Havoc.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Our blood pressure is through the roof right
Yes.
now.
Oh my.
All right. So as you ask this question, it hesitates for a moment. You see the eyes still staring blankly up at the ceiling, but then it begins to speak, still in this very dead, guttural, almost whining, moaning sound.
Doloka has artifact. Fluxion say, make us rich.
Speak this language.
Rich as kings.
Just kings. Floxen.
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 That should be our
Floxen.
next question.
Who the fuck is Flox? No.
Dad, no, no, Jot, no.
I put Seamus in her mouth.
I believe that we should ask where we can find Floxen.
Sure. Yeah. I like
Or
it.
who they are, because we don't know which, if that's Zhentarim or
No,
Xanathar.
I think.
I think I
like this
believe
question. I like this
ask
question.
yeah. Immediately turning and saying, where can we find Floxen?
How do we phrase it so you can use voice line there?
Yeah, I mean, if you would ask who they are or where they reside or who they work for, this could have all been done with this one. I should have used this one last time, but we'll do
Okay.
it this time.
Sure. Yeah.
So-
Sure. We'll
Mulligan.
put it in that.
Do it. It's fine.
Doloka has
Oop, nope, wrong one.
Oh,
Stop! Okay.
Please stop. Please stop.
Where is it? There it is. Okay.
me name Ashek or Talis. Him down the grave. Us what for Roxin and live at Garland Villa.
Okay, so
Hey, God.
yeah. God, quick
Garland
question.
Villa.
Do I know anything about Growlhund Villa? I mean, can I help Jot recall information about Growlhund Villa?
Sure. Make a history check or intelligence check.
Yeah, I'm just gonna help Jot out with that.
Okay. Best you
So-
can.
Yeah, just providing
Intelligence or history? What did you say?
That's a tough one.
I mean,
history and skill.
they're the same for me, so it actually does not matter. So I'll
Yeah,
just
I'm trying to
yeah,
think if
either
it's
one.
gonna be. Yeah, either one. Just roll one.
I don't have proficiency in history, so it's literally the same roll.
Okay. You recall walking around the northward one day that's not far, actually, from your current residence. There is a noble family that has a estate that's called Grelhan Villa. It resides a few blocks away, actually, from Trollskull Manor. You know, one of the influential families lives there, but, you know, kind of a minor noble family.
Oh shit. Okay, cool. We'll talk about that later because we're on a time crunch right now, okay?
I think a good question would be to find out what connection that family has with this secondary or with this guild.
So
I think that we should find out what guild it is we're talking about.
Some clarification.
I mean, this person had
we know
a tattoo
this
of the
individual is
Zhentarams.
part of the Zhentarim.
Right. I'm trying to find out if the Zhentarim and Xanathar are working together.
I
This-
also like the previous question we were going to ask. Or I
What
guess
was
no,
the
that
previous
is the previous question was where do we find the person, and I guess we know now that
Yes.
Floxen is
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that.
Correct.
So I think we should find out politically or whatever socially what relationship that noble hoity-toity family has to deal with these people.
Okay. Kai will ask, what is the relationship between the residents of the Garlhun Villa and the Zhentarim or Xanathar Guild?
With that, the Zhentarim agent begins to speak once again. As I'm thinking of how to phrase this, it's not going to be a voice thing.
Okay.
Just me, sorry. All right.
That's a weird answer.
That's weird.
Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm not counting the next minute.
Okay. So
I'm
let's
going to
abuse this.
search. All right.
Okay, so
Yes,
we
let's
need to
use
think
it
of
to our advantage.
We need to think of our fifth question. I guess maybe that could build off this fourth question, though.
We need to ask about the Niblewright.
What?
Oh,
So
yeah,
we ask.
like,
We
was
ask
there
the
a-
relationship between the Niblewright and them. Yes. Yes.
Trying to make it not a yes/no
Yes.
question. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Okay.
It,
Yeah.
it could be.
I'll
Could be
ask.
why was it attacking you?
Well, that's why I said to mention
What
the
is
relationship.
between
Yes.
you and the Niblewright?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
What if
Yep.
what if he just responds?
All right.
Lovers.
And
Damn,
he
time out.
answers, Orons and Yala Gralan bankroll Black Network.
Ooh.
That's
Can
new.
you type that out,
Yes, please.
Mhm.
please?
What was the specific question
Oh.
again? It was
the relationship between the people who live there and the Zhentarim
or
the
Xanathar. Okay.
4 minutes? We got so much time, guys.
We got time.
Right.
Remind me the question.
We were going to ask what the relationship with
Yes, got it.
Niblewright was.
But-
Got it. Got it.
Hold on. I do also agree now, because your last question mentioned both guilds, but now they're clarifying that they bankroll the Black Network.
Xanathar. Yes.
Well, no, Black Network is Zhentarim.
Or yes, Zhentarim. Sorry. Yes.
So we don't know for certain that these people are a member of the Black Network. Yes,
Well,
they have the tattoos and the cloaks.
That's enough evidence
What
to me.
I'm thinking is that these people are affiliated with the Xanathar and kind of bought their own portion of the Zhentarim.
Or the Zhentarim
Oh,
is
so you think the
bankrolling
secondary-
the secondary the Zhentarim.
I think the
The
secondary Zhentarim
Xanathar.
group.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the Xanathar is bankrolling or creating the secondary Zhentarim as a guise,
it could be
basically.
a good question. It could be a good question to ask if the two Zhentarim factions are truly separate. We could find a question to kind of sort that out. Like if they're truly not in alliance together.
And we could also ask the other Zent agent.
Yeah, we do have another Zenta.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I would
sick.
Yes.
actually. I'm inclined to ask about the Niblewright and just
Okay.
see.
Then
But I don't know.
Kai will turn to the individual and say, "What is the relationship between you and the Niblewright from the rooftop in Trollskull Alley?"
Once again, the voice hesitates for a moment as if searching and thinking, then begins to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Niblewrights belong to Yala, not Black Network.
Oh,
That's info.
good
That's a lot.
shit.
That's a lot.
Good
That's a lot.
shit. Good shit, you guys. Okay.
That's
okay.
good. That's good.
That's a
That's
lot.
really good.
That's
That's
good.
a lot of.
So
That's,
proud of us.
yep.
And as you have answered or got an answer for this last question, you see prematurely of 10 minutes the flame of the incense wisps out, and Riros looks forward and says, "Well, that is number 2. You have one more opportunity for 5 more questions in 10 minutes.
And I
Who
will
would you like
ask
to know?
5 more minutes, please.
Make a persuasion check.
And Risk is smiling at him.
Do it with advantage.
Ew. It's okay. It's okay.
He seems to stand back, kind of crossing his arms. He says, "I do have an early day tomorrow, but
I understand, as we all do. I would just truly appreciate it if you could help us. We just
Okay.
need a few moments to
very
formulate our
well,
thoughts.
fine.
I
5 more
appreciate
minutes,
it.
but not a minute longer.
No,
I would like
absolutely not.
I want to look over the bodies.
5 minutes.
Do we for sure want to talk to the other?
I don't know if we
Zhentarim.
do now.
Yeah.
I don't know if
don't
anybody else.
I kind of wonder if we just got everything we were going to get.
Yeah,
Like,
that felt pretty good.
because yeah, that was a pretty good one there.
But anyway,
No, look at Havoc's face. We haven't. Look at Havoc's face. We have not. yeah. No. Nope.
like
I can read you like a
The
book.
acting.
Can I roll a
can't
perception
now.
check on Havoc's face to see?
Yeah, I would like to roll a perception check on God. Thank you.
Dear God.
Do it. See what happens.
I could read Havoc like a book that's written in a language I don't understand.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Let's go.
Come on! What are we
else do
doing?
Ask? I don't know what
so
to
here's
ask.
the thing. So like the other people we could talk to, we could ask them pretty much the same questions. Like what was your purpose once you reached your destination? Like someone could be like, I mean, the halfling troop would be like, we were already at our destination. We
Yeah,
were
just
dancing or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, Havoc, do any of
the old woman and the half elf, I think, were servants.
Havoc, the 2 people who look like servants, do they look like anyone that we have seen around Trollskull Alley? We've been there for like 2 weeks. Do either one of them look like, hey, I've never seen this person before?
Just so y'all don't waste it, yes, you've seen them. They are clearly servants for noble families.
All right, let's talk to the Zhentarim. Fuck those guys.
So
What do we
second
ask
Zhentarim,
them,
what do
though?
we ask?
I want to know about the relationship between the two Zhentarim guilds.
Okay.
So do we ask the location of Yala?
Oh, well, no.
Or
No, we
what?
know where Yala is.
We asked
we know
location of
Orland
their-
and Yala Grelhong. Okay.
Galrun?
Yeah, actually, yeah, we don't know where Yala is. We know
Galhund.
where Beshek Ortalis and Wern Malcrave
Oh,
are.
wait.
No, those are the two Zhentarim
They're
agents
at
that are dead.
the villa.
Yeah, no, they
Bashik
said
and
their
Wern
names,
are dead.
which no, hold on. They said their names,
Oh,
which is
they're
the
right, they're
two
right.
dead individuals. Their names are
Oh.
Bashek
Okay.
and Wern,
So we need to find out about Erstel.
which we need to find out the location. What? No, we know where
Not location, find-
Floxen is.
purpose. Of
We know why they're
Erstel.
after it. They want the gold.
Why are they funding the Black Network?
Okay,
That's a good question.
okay,
I like that one.
we'll start there.
Or maybe
What else?
maybe not funding, but like what are their shared goals? Maybe. Right?
What
'Cause
are,
it'd
what,
be
are
like-
their, what are their views on Davil Starstone?
What is
Is
the
it-
connection? What is the connection between the Zhentarim and the Xanathar Guild?
I want to find out if they also, like, if we're being fed bullshit about the two separate Zhentarim guilds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Like,
Yeah.
Imagine roll inside checks.
Okay, I want to ask the connection between the two guilds, and then after that, we'll ask the question about the if the two guilds are entirely separate, and then from there we'll figure out what to do. Yes.
Well, we
No,
wanna find
the
out
two Xanathar
all
guild.
No,
So
there's
we'll-
Xanathar.
No, there's two
Two
Zent guilds, not two
Or
Xanathar
two
guilds.
Zent Guild. I'm sorry. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Also
So,
finding
yeah.
out the shared goal or whatever between the noble family. Are they noble? Havoc? Is that God?
I don't know.
Growlhund?
Girl was the noble family. Yeah.
So why the noble family has joined the Zents? Like, what is their end goal or shared
Okay.
goal? Whatever.
Make notes in chat so that we don't forget what we're going to ask. The first question is going to be the connection between the Xanathar Guild and the Zhentarim.
All right.
Okay.
So once again, Riros moving over to the other Zhentarim agent, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Moving over to him, standing over him, this one you know as Wern Malcrave, stands over his body, placing the incense. You see the incense is very low at this point, only has one more use within it. He lights it, chants one more time. Once again, the body's eyes open, the mouth kind of parting just ever so slightly as he stares lifeless at the ceiling. And with that, Riros turns around and says, "Your final questions, please."
What is the connection between the Xanathar Guild and the Zhentarim?
With that, the voice thinks for a moment and then begins to speak. Zhentarim, Black Network, rivals of Xanathar. Black Network, rivals of Zhentarim.
Okay.
So that answers our that question of two rival
Yep.
Zhentarim.
So-
So we don't need to worry about that. Second question. Why is the Garlhund family working with the Zhentarim?
Thinks for a moment.
Are we getting that nomenclature right? Is the Zhentarim the people Risk has been working with in the Black Network, this other group?
They're separate, yes.
But I would say, are we getting the names to the right people?
Yeah, which one have... Okay.
Hmm.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, God.
You're able to surmise that these are Black Network agents,
Yes.
whereas Davil and them are Zhentarim agents.
Yes.
With that, say the question one more time for me?
Then I will rephrase
We'll
it
say it as-
and
yeah, say
say,
it like-
why is the Garlhund family working with the Black Network?
Okay. Yala needed spies, paid us to get information for her.
Now I just
Okay.
want to know what
I
sort
think-
of information.
I think we should ask about what sort of information they were trying to gather.
I feel,
What information?
Okay.
I think we should ask what information they did gather.
Okay.
I think also would be another good question would be how did they find out about Dalekar, the gnome? Would be good to figure out
Okay.
how they found out he had the
We
thing.
might cover both.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you have a good idea.
I'll ask about the question with the gnome. Put the others in chat.
I think asking what information that
Well, I think-
I think-
gathered
gathered.
might be relevant.
I think
Start
I
there.
think risk questions is better.
Okay. Kai will turn again and say, what information has the Black Network already gathered? Is it about the artifact? Or is that
I would
what we're
say
asking?
I would say for the family.
Just yeah.
For-
What information have you gathered for the family?
What information has the Black Network gathered for the Garlhund family?
Information on nobles and influential people of Waterdeep.
Okay.
Eh.
Another good question would be, how do we hurt them? Is there a way we could ask for weaknesses or something like that? I don't know.
He's answering questions. I don't believe that he's going to
Yeah.
actively work against his boss.
But anyway, what weaknesses could we strengthen? So, a good question to ask would be. And another question we could ask would be, quote, what are weaknesses that we could strengthen within the plot of land? I don't know what that area looks like. We've got a few minutes. We can space this out a little bit. So we have 2 questions left.
We could ask if the family has anything going on in the sewers. Or
I guess this brings it to the other question. We could, well, I guess it's already been answered that the Black Network are rivals to the Xanathar. So they're
Yes.
definitely opposing factions.
these are like 3 factions fighting against each other.
Correct, yeah.
2 of
So
them share the same name.
I think Kai should ask if the individuals deceased here were separate from the third individual.
We don't know who the third individual is.
Correct.
We could ask.
But we can ask.
We could ask.
So Kai will
if- yeah,
ask
uh-huh.
it.
Let's use
When
let's use his partner's name in the question. Who was with you besides?
Correct.
I don't know which one we're talking to.
Who
Yeah,
is
which one are we
chasing-
talking to? Do we know? Do we
We're
get
talking
an indication?
to Wern.
Wern, or we're talking to Wern. So Kai would say, were you working with someone other than Basek to apprehend the rock gnome?
With that, Wern answers, was working with Bashek and Floxen chasing Dalekar.
Okay. So Floxen is the
So-
other individual that got away, and they are at the villa.
Okay. So what we have learned is that the Black Network was getting information for Lady Growlhund.
Yes.
Not that the lady wanted the stone. So I think a good question.
Floxen wanted this.
Floxen
Floxen.
wanted the stone, or what he planned to do with it afterwards.
Well, I mean,
Like,
I think what they probably want
Well,
to do
they
with it
were
is get the
hunting the dragons to get money. That's really what they were after. That's literally the point
Yeah.
of the stone, is to hunt down the dragons.
But were they looking for it for themselves, for the Black Network, or for the minor families, so the minor family could become a major family?
But at that point, it doesn't really matter because
True.
they're just trying to gather the money. So even if it's
Yeah.
just individual or for a family, they're just using the stone to gather money.
Yeah. My hope was that they'd be like, well, they were going to go here and do a thing,
Right.
and we could go there. But yeah, I get what
But
you're
we were
saying.
told. Were we told that Xanathar have the stone now?
No, Erstal Floxen has
Ursula
the stone.
Floxen has the stone. That's the one that left.
Limpy,
Mm-hmm.
and probably is at this household.
Wait, we could ask. So the Niblewright is
Why
with
not-
the-
Why not ask what kind of resistance we're going to meet when we get to the villa?
Well, we could also ask why would the Niblewright fireball them?
They don't know
Because
what the
they said
Niblewright's
they're
purpose
enemies.
was. They're enemies. They had nothing
Well,
to do
no,
with
they're
each
not
other.
enemies.
No, they're not
That's
enemies.
right.
The Niblewright's with them, or is,
Yeah,
is
that's-
with, the
Is
Niblewright
with the noble family, Growlhund.
Yala. Yeah,
Is Yala a male or a female name?
Female.
Female. Of course. Yeah. Some crazy lady's got a crazy robot.
But
I don't
Yala was
actually-
separate from the Black Network, and
Yeah.
they worked
No,
for the Black
so
Network.
Yala
No, Yala-
bankrolls the Black Network.
She's bankrolling the back network. She backstabbed them.
she just bombed them.
Oh.
Floxen.
I feel like we
Oh.
should ask a question about this. Yeah.
Okay, we got 2 minutes,
I
so
feel
what's the
so
question?
much tension.
So, from what I understand, noble lady of the house has a robot with a fireball necklace and went and bombed them. She was probably going to backstab them, have the Niblewright take the stone, but the Niblewright missed, or
Or Floxen was
Floxen.
in on the backstabbing.
that. Well, but he got hit though, so I feel like he was probably just lucky.
It survived, or maybe he had something that
A
resisted fire.
question
1
we could
minute. All right,
ask
we gotta
is,
go.
Why
Question.
would the lady
Why did? Oh,
have the Niblewright throw a fireball at you?
Okay.
We could ask why.
Kai will look to the individual and say, "Why did the Niblewright attack you?"
I'm so busy. I don't know.
With that, Wern hesitates for a few moments and then answers, "Don't know who attacked us."
But the other guy did.
The other guy knew about
The other guy
Niblewright.
knew.
Damn.
And with that, the incense burns down to the very end. It's sapping out at the very last second the energy taken for the last question to be answered. With that, Ruros kind of frowning, moving forward and pulling the incense. He kind of turns and looks at you and says, "I suppose that's one thing I could have warned about, but matters dealing with their deaths are sometimes hazy for the deceased. From what I've gathered, this man was killed by a fireball, so he may not have seen the attacker before it happened. But
Can we get a return exchange on our card?
with that, Ruros
I'd
kind of
like to
laughs.
speak to your manager.
Ruros just kind of tilts his head. "I don't have one. Nobody wants to deal with me for some reason.
I can't
imagine
understand why.
I think you're a pretty cool guy.
Either.
Really dig your hair too.
Well, thank you, Fizz," and kind of
course.
waves his mohawk off to the side.
It's a
Vizroth.
Ah,
Vizroth.
Get it
Vizroth.
right. Vizroth. Get it right.
Yes, all Viz, not I apologize. With that, Ruros kind of looks and says, "Well, I am tapped out for the evening, unfortunately. More than likely, it seems you got, for the most part, I think everything you could have gotten from them. They were very receptive compared to some others that I've seen, though much drama seems to be happening around this. But as always, as a cleric of Agma, I will not speak of anything I heard here, unless it's amusing to me. But this seems serious, and I would hate to ruin anything. So, I will bid you adieu. Whenever you're ready to leave, I think I need an escort out of here. But it was a pleasure working with you all, especially you, Avisrath.
I wish we could say the same.
Thank you so much for your
Well,
time.
thank you for your
You've been a
patience.
lifesaver.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your help.
Not
Really
tonight.
appreciate it.
And we'll walk out with him.
All right, with that.
Of his mouth, will, at least.
With that, all of you moving up to the doorway, you knock on it a few times, and you hear the audible clicking of the key and such of this heavy door being opened. You see the guard outside kind of nodding to you and kind of points off the way back towards the stairs. Leads you back out and back into the street. The two guards kind of nod to you, kind of wish you well on your business and such. And you start moving back through the night. Riros, once again, thanks you all for your patronage to the Temple of Agma. Says, "Oh, do a visit again soon. There's plenty of knowledge aside from that the dead holds at the Temple of Agma. Say hi sometimes."
I try and tip him.
Feels like quite the waste to me, to be honest. But thank you. I appreciate your time.
And by tip him, I mean I'm trying to sleight of hand coins into his pocket.
All right, make a sleight of hand check.
And I'm going to give myself some really encouraging words as I do so.
You got this. You got this.
Avisnath.
Oh, no.
Looks like Viz is on the inside trying to get out.
You
12.
see, he's not even looking at you. He just turns around and kind of mats your head. No. We already spoke about this. No,
Damn it.
not necessary. Have a good night, everyone. And he disappears, heading off into the night. You find yourselves...
He's so nice. Such a good guy.
You find yourselves all reflecting on what transpired here, speaking with the dead of everyone, or at least a few of these notable individuals whose name you now all know, and have gained a lot of insight from this, able to understand what was happening, what was the goal of these people, as well as what their current location may be. And right in your backyard, it almost seems, here in the North Ward. So you head back to Trollskull Manor to collect your thoughts. You arrive back and see that it's a somewhat busy night, but your 3 employees are doing what you're paying them to do, able to take care of business. You check on it, just taking care of the business side of things. Everything's running smooth. You see a few patrons, you recognize some neighbors, as well as a bunch of other people you haven't met. A couple nobles are actually populating the bar tonight. But otherwise, it seems everything's working. You all head back upstairs and kind of start talking back and forth about what you're going to do now. What is next for this group of adventurers? Do you turn everything you've gotten back into the City Watch? Do you act upon this yourselves? Do you reach out to your friends and the various organizations you're involved with? Or do you do something else that I haven't predicted?
Probably.
We'll have to wait and see until next session,
We're-
because that is where we're ending the session for the evening.
We're doing the unpredictable, and we're going to wait until
Option
an hour
D, Havoc,
before.
we would like to do that.
We're going option D, and we're waiting until the hour before stream to tell you, hey, by the way, we're going to do all of this shit. And yeah, bad things
This
are
is
going to happen. This is
Havoc,
fine.
I'm starting a bar fight with a patron because I haven't rolled for initiative in 2 straight D&D sessions.
I mean,
There
It
will
doesn't
be
matter, man. My
combat and
blood
stuff
pressure
next session, I promise.
I know, that was so stressful.
We don't need actual combat when we're fighting
That was-
time.
dude, that
Nobody
was
beats
rough.
time.
God, I was so excited for that. I'm glad
That
y'all were all
was
smiling
rough.
through that, because
That
I was
was
scared. I was
good.
like, God, are they going to hate this? Or
no,
not?
that was awesome.
Were those Sirenscape voices?
Yes, they
Yeah.
were Sirenscape voices.
That was really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
very.
they
The
were-
first one freaked. I was like,
Yeah, if you
I was
remember
like,
last time- the last session, we kind of got to a point and I was like, yeah, there's some other voice stuff, because I was kind of doing like the voices after the session was over, and like a few of you that were still here got to hear like the little boy's voice and things like that they did. And I kind of hinted, I was like, yeah, there's some other ones I do plan on using, because they're really, really, really well done.
I remember you saying that.
yeah.
That's one of those voices.
All right,
I think
gonna
we
end.
really...
Go ahead.
Bye,
Bye, stream.
Thanks for joining.